What chance do we have?
What chance do we have?
The question is what choice?
Hello, everyone.
What's going on, everybody?
Yay!
Hey!
We're streaming tonight for the What Choice Fundraiser. And yeah, it's going to be a good night. And all that intro video keeps reminding me is, David, we need an intro video for our show. Did you freeze again?
You did
froze again. Every time.
That's what happens.
Doing it live.
Oh, there he goes.
It's the trademark of the show. It's
Yeah.
the trademark of the show. It's the trademark of the
No,
show. What can I say?
If you
That's
guys
what
haven't been on the
happens.
show with David before, the true trademark is usually we say something weird and he reacts and then freezes like that. So he'll be mad at one of us and freezes. It's beautiful every time. But yeah, do our guests want to introduce themselves? Eric, you want to start, and then Alberto?
Sure. My name is Eric Mitchell. I am one of the hosts of Starlight Beacon Transmissions podcast. Well, it's more of a weekly YouTube live show. Yeah, huge Star Wars fan, have been my entire life, and it was just I'm honored for you to reach out and to have me on tonight. So thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, same as Eric. Thanks for having me here tonight. Alberto, you can see the name down there, host of the Radio Rebellion podcast. Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast, but also we're mainly a YouTube weekly show, but we do release it also on the audio podcast on Mondays. We have a co-host, OT, that might be joining you guys later. So yeah, new shows every Saturday. Check it out. We had a cool episode yesterday talking about our favorite Star Wars books. So excited to be here today for 1 hour.
Yep, we're running. We got guests switching halfway through, but we're streaming all the way to 10, I think, Eastern time. I'm doing everything in Eastern time, but I'm in Central time, so I keep having to convert. It's great. But yeah, so I pretty much said we're just going to kind of be a little chaotic tonight. And so I asked everybody to bring their hot take. So if anybody has a hot take, I've heard Eric is coming on tonight to defend the honor of Solo, A Star Wars Story.
Ooh.
And I am here.
I love that movie.
the
I'm
honor
here.
to be defended.
Okay, fine. I'll go right ahead, real quick.
Please do.
Solo is the best Disney Star Wars movie out there.
Okay, so we might have to fight because you know the ones I'm defending.
I love Rogue One. I absolutely love Rogue One, and I really love the sequel trilogy. But Solo just has a special place in my heart. Like, it really does. It's so much fun. And after The Last Jedi, you actually needed a movie like that.
Yeah.
The Last Jedi, I got to see it in theaters a couple weeks ago. It is a great movie. It is probably the best made Star Wars movie, maybe tied with Empire, but best made Star Wars movie. But it is a lot. It is a lot, and it is very long. So Solo being a fun little romp, it's lower down on my list, not because I don't love it, but because it's not, quote unquote, my kind of Star Wars, which is Rebellion and Resistance. Same reason the prequels are a little lower. But I love it, and I really want a Disney Plus series or another movie, or give it to me in comic book form. I need to know what happens next.
And just, I think out of all of, besides Rogue One, I think that this is the most perfectly cast Star Wars movie for the modern day. Because
Alden is precious as Han Solo.
He's fantastic. Donald Glover as Lando is perfect.
I might say, other than the leads of the sequel trilogy, Donald Glover, I think, is the best casting Disney has done in Star Wars. And that's counting everyone in Rogue One.
Yeah.
But for casting an already established character's younger version, he's just so perfect.
And he looks like him and sounds like him.
Oh, God, yeah.
Time. and it's incredible. And you can't forget Phoebe Waller-Bridge as L3, because that is just amazing. And every time I ride Smuggler's Run, I thank L3 for the ride.
I
like
can't relate because I've never gotten to ride Smuggler's Run.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
shut up.
might not go as far as Eric to say that Solo is the best of the Disney era movie, but at least for myself, it's the most enjoyable Star Wars movie of all of them. If I have 2 hours and I have to pick a Star Wars movie to watch, 9 out of 10 times I'm gonna go with Solo. As
Mhm.
soon as it will have you flying in no time, a smile gets on my face and it doesn't leave till the end of the movie. It is a very enjoyable movie. They might not have these big, huge kind of galaxy-wide implications as a lot of Star Wars movies, but just to have fun and just sit back and just enjoy it. So yeah, Eric, I'll help you defend it. I love that movie also, and it's pretty high on my list. It's around the 5 spots, so halfway.
Yeah, for me, it's in my top 3, with Return of the Jedi being number 1 and Rogue One being number 3. So there, Rogue One gets a little bit of love.
Since we are coming up on the month of Andor, it was nice of you, Eric, to plug it there.
Of course.
Good job.
Excuse me.
It's true.
Diego Luna is on Good Morning America. Tomorrow we're getting another Andor trailer.
Mhm.
No one speak to me for the next 24 hours. I'm
And
not
if
going to be a
we've-
person.
And if we've learned anything from any Good Morning America advertisement for anything Star Wars, it's going to be posted in the last 20 minutes
Yeah.
of Good Morning America. So don't wake up at 7. Turn it on
How
at like
long is it?
9:30 Eastern. That's when they'll show it, probably.
Yeah.
9:30. Okay, so
I have to
maybe
be at
if you
work
go
by
in-
8, so unfortunately I do have to wake up early. But yeah,
Uh,
by the time I get to work and
Yeah.
set in, then it'll be there.
there you go.
I'm off tomorrow, so I can actually watch it.
There you go.
Okay, like you're gonna send me a message when it's posted, right? Because I have to be in
yeah,
a meeting at 10 Eastern, from 10 Eastern to 12 Eastern. So if it's posted during my meeting, I might cry
Oh, I'll message you. Don't worry.
or go watch it in the bathroom. It can't be like the Rise of Skywalker trailer. I was on a cruise ship and you have to pay like $20 a day if you want internet with video on a cruise ship, and I had the lower internet package to let me do like social media and my email. But yeah, they posted that trailer and I was just outside of American waters and couldn't use my cell phone, and I'm like laying on the floor crying. My ex is like, we are on a cruise ship in Mexico, and I'm like, but they're Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, the same thing happened to me one time with I think it was one of the Rebels finales. I don't know if it was season 2 or season 3, but I was on a cruise ship and I had the Disney XD app and I couldn't get it to connect. And I just knew this was happening. And I was fighting so hard not to go on Twitter or any social media. And then luckily, as soon as we got back, this was the first thing I did. I was like, don't talk to me. I just get caught up.
No one speak to me.
We'll continue the drive back home.
Nice.
I just got a message from the other host of our podcast that was just the tweet about Good Morning America. So apparently, Jason's looking out for me.
Nice. I think so. Going to like one of those things with a piece of Star Wars content. We were at Disney last year for May 4th, and that's when the Bad Batch dropped. And like we had to wait until we got back from Disney to watch those first 2 episodes of the Bad Batch. And it was like one of the hardest things that I had to do, because like I wanted to watch it. But but I know like had it not been COVID, like Disney would have premiered it there at Hollywood Studios.
Ooh, I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from those type of stories, for me was when it was announced that Disney had bought Lucasfilm. It was I had a friend over at our house, and then I guess he was on the internet. He just kind of blurted it out. Oh, so there's gonna be three more movies. Disney just bought Lucasfilm. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, whatever. There's always rumors about that. Every couple of years, there's a script running around. And I went on Facebook back then, and then everything was Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. Oh, really? And I'm like, this is how I learn about it. Just a random comment from someone. I'm like, oh crap, I wanted to be there with it. So I felt let down as a fan that I didn't didn't find out on an official capacity.
Hmm.
Like, oh man, I gotta pay attention to what's going out there.
Yeah.
I was not a Star Wars fan when Disney bought Lucasfilm, so I found out about it just because I follow entertainment news as a theater person. And I told my sister, who had been converted to a Star Wars fan by her roommate, and my sister then treated me to her rendition of When You Wish Upon a Death Star.
Oh, I love that.
So if
I-
anybody wants to know what my family is like,
I remember when that news happened. Let's see, what was that? 2012. It's 10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Remember my dad told me, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, Disney bought Lucasfilm." And when those announcements happen, I don't think they're real until something comes of it.
Yeah.
Whether it be a movie, a show, a book, I need tangible, verification. And then Thanksgiving 2014, probably one of the best teaser trailers I've ever seen, dropped. And I was on my way home from work. And again, my dad texts me, the trailer's up. And I was like, oh shit. So I just ran into the house, turned it on, and man, the X-Wings over the water,
Oh yeah.
Kylo in the forest, and then the Falcon
I
at
don't
the
think
end.
I've ever watched the teaser trailers. Maybe I've seen. I think
I'm
I have
sorry,
seen
what?
the trailers for Force Awakens because they were playing in movie theaters. Because
Though-
I wasn't like super excited. I'm like, oh hey, there's a movie with the things, and
I
then
remember the one they showed during Thanksgiving, which was just BB-8 kind of rolling by.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
think Finn popping up was the first
Yeah.
thing that we see,
yeah.
and then the bigger one later. But yeah, I mean, good times back then.
Because it was Snoke that was narrating
Yeah.
the teaser, because he talks about the awakening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The one that got me though, still that one from Celebration with Chewie, We're Home.
Dude,
Tears just rolling down my face.
I was in my college math class when that trailer came out, and I was sitting in the back. And the professor's going on about whatever the hell he was going through that day, and I had my phone out and I was watching the live stream. Then, of course, when they were going to show the trailer, screen cuts to black, and I'm like, damn it. But then they posted it, and I watched it there, and just like you, tears.
Yeah.
I had to leave the room and then watch it again in the hallway. Just like, I need to react the way I need to react right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that was... Those
The
movies, I think,
full-
had the best ones.
Yeah.
the full trailer for Rise of Skywalker was officially a holiday at my workplace. Like we catered in snacks because I was working with another huge Star Wars fan. So we had snacks as we're refreshing Twitter every 35 seconds.
Nice. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, that trailer for Episode 9 was probably the most, like, what the fuck trailer
Yeah.
I know that
that I
laugh.
remember.
I know that laugh.
It was just so unexpected. But yeah, Eric, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say real quick. It's really interesting because it just feels like the build up to a Star Wars movie, especially with The Force Awakens, it felt like Christmas.
Yes.
Like it felt like yeah, Christmas was right around the corner, but like this was Christmas. Like this was it. And I just remember going to the theater and just as soon as that Lucasfilm logo came up with the new intro, people were cheering, and I was like, Star Wars is back. This feeling, like you felt like you were on cloud nine, like the entire time that you were watching the movie. And there's no greater experience than sitting down and watching Star Wars in a movie theater.
I got to see both Force Awakens and Last Jedi within the past month. A local place was doing all 9 in order.
Yeah.
I was only able to go to the 2 because I was going to try and go to every one I could, but I had conflicts some days, and it was hard to get there every Saturday. But I made Force Awakens and I made Last Jedi. And I cosplayed for Force Awakens because my cosplay guild is in that area, so I was Rey. So it was fun. And there was kind of a lower crowd for Force Awakens. But the idiotically huge smile on my face as soon as you see that long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Like, I'm glad it was dark and I had a mouthful of popcorn because I was like about to cry.
Yeah.
And I cried like a baby when the saber flew to Rey. Just that moment when she picks up, nope, I'm gone.
Yeah.
A friend went with me to Last Jedi, and apparently I am more entertaining to watch. Like, he's like, no, that's a great movie. She's more entertaining to watch than the movie.
Alberto, what do you remember about watching, whether it be Force?
So for Force Awakens, I think I bought a ticket for maybe that 10 o'clock in the morning showing or something. Of course, I had the day off from work, wasn't gonna go to work, so I drove my wife because we used to work at the same place. And I have to drive by the movie theater. I think the first showing was around 9 or something, and the line was around the place. And it's a small city, doesn't get full most of the time, especially at 9 in the morning. So I'm screwed. By the time I turn back, I'm gonna be outside. Even I don't know if by that time we had assigned seatings or something. But when I went to my showing, at least it wasn't outside. We were inside, but a pretty long line. And I don't want to say that I feel bad, but I don't get that experience that a lot of people get with everyone cheering in the movie theaters, because either I go extremely early when it's maybe 30 people, and when Force Awakens was pretty full, it's pretty quiet. The audience doesn't react. I'm the one getting ready to stand up and cheer, like, okay, nobody else is doing it. So I love hearing when people say that everyone's screaming when the lightsaber flew by. Everyone just scream and yell, but my theater is not like that, unfortunately. But I love watching The Force Awakens for the first time. I was pretty scared before it came out because I didn't know if they were going to be able to recreate the magic per se of, is it Star Wars? It's brand new characters, new directors, new writers, even though casting was there. But we didn't know how much Harrison Ford Han Solo, Luke, or Leia we were going to get. Are these characters going to feel like Star Wars? And I guess earlier that year or the year before, I can remember, is when Guardians of the Galaxy came out. And I loved that movie. And I'm like, this is what Star Wars should be, this big space adventure. So I was going to, is it going to be able to catch that? I think Star Wars is done. We're too late. And when it started, it took me a little bit to kind of relax. When we see the Falcon for the first time, when Rey says, all the garbage will do, and we hear the I can, okay.
Yeah.
I did chew it. Okay, we're home. We're good. The chase around that junkyard, that's when I felt, okay, we're in Star Wars. We're in a safe place. This is going to be great. And I just went for the journey. So it took me those, 20, 30 minutes. But after that, everything was gravy. It's my favorite of the sequel trilogy. And even though I really enjoyed The Last Jedi, I have my issues with it, not as much as a lot of people out there. And I really enjoyed Rise of Skywalker. So all in all, I really like the sequel trilogy. But The Force Awakens, it's my top. It's probably my second or third favorite Star Wars movie. But yeah, it took a little bit to be able to relax and kind of, okay, we're watching Star Wars and not just something with the name Star Wars plastered on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, good times. But I miss having that emotion of everyone in the theater just cheering. Maybe I need to go to a midnight screening or something. But I'm old, like we said before, and it's too far.
Everybody had that with when they went to go see Spider-Man No Way Home. And Spider-Man No Way Home is still the only Marvel movie I've seen in the theater. And I would like to blame one man for that, and he's on the stream tonight.
Listen.
But I went to like a 5 o'clock show, so like right after work, and I went to like the open caption one because there were so many showings, and it was during an uptick in COVID cases. So I'm like, I want a less crowded showing. First of all, I was in the theater that I saw Rise of Skywalker in, so I vaguely remembered crying like a baby in this theater so bad my coworkers who went with me thought I was going to die because I lost it when Leia died.
Yeah.
But so I'm in Spider, and everybody else was talking about, oh, they had all this cheering, and I was in a theater with 10 people. Ain't nobody cheered in my Spider-Man show. I'm feeling all these feelings, and there's just like 5 other people. They're just like, okay. I'm like, you're not feeling things? Which that may have been because instead of the culmination of 20 years of Spider-Man for me, it was the culmination of 2 months of David's intensive Spider-Man course.
Yeah, had to happen, you know.
My daughter loves watching movies and going to the theater, so I take it with me sometimes. And she went with me to watch Spider-Man No Way Home. And when Andrew Garfield shows up, I'm like smiling ear to ear. And she's like, who's that? Who's that? Because she hasn't seen the other Spider-Man. She's only 12. And you understand maybe in a few years how much this means to a lot of us that grew up with this. But some people cheered. For that one, people clapped and they were happy to see it. But she's like, it's just a dude with weird hair. What's going on?
Like one of like the loudest pops that I ever witnessed in a theater was Endgame with Cap picking up the hammer.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Like
Still never see that movie.
Don't mind spoiler alert.
I'm the resident Marvel hater. Don't mind me.
Oh my.
But just like seeing like that culmination like happen with Cap picking up the hammer, and like I remember like my wife had a death grip on my arm when that happened, when Cap picked up the hammer, because she was just like, who's gonna pick it up, thinking that Vision was back all of a sudden. No, it was Cap. But Star Wars.
I feel like with them being Disney properties, they're really tied right now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and we've got D23 in a month and a half. We could talk about it all. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not convention crunching. I have to decide if I want to spend a lot more money than I was going to on a photo op, because I was just going to go meet Moses Ingram. Because she's my wife. She doesn't know this yet, but she's my wife. And I was looking because there's also the photo ops with her and Rupert Friend, which I'm like, not a huge fan. I mean, I love him as the Grand Inquisitor, but wasn't gonna spend the money for it. Then they made the one that's the Kenobi thing, and it's Rupert Friend, Moses Ingram, and Vivian Lyra Blair. And I'm like, oh, I might have to. I would die for small Leia.
How much is that?
$160.
Oh, I would do it in a heartbeat. I thought it was going to be like $500.
You have no
500.
financial control, David.
For a photo op or
For
like
photo op?
autograph?
Photo op.
Oh,
That's
I would do
really
that's
not
no
bad.
brainer.
I
That's
know
a
it's
no-brainer
not.
for me.
I just shouldn't because but I might.
Rachel, once in a lifetime
I
opportunity.
know. And somebody was just
$160.
telling me about God, no, I can't remember her name. Miss Nichols, the Star Trek actress who passed unfortunately today.
Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah, that he had the opportunity to meet her at Gen Con, but couldn't with his schedule a few years ago. And he's like, so this is my new thing. Take the photo op.
Yes. For $160 with those three, take it.
Yeah.
Take the photo op.
Yeah.
The only one I've been able to get, and this was probably 2004, 2003, Peter Mayhew back in Puerto Rico. He came to a sci-fi convention.
Oh.
I got a picture with him, an autograph of Snowy Chewbacca. I think it was like $20 or $30 back then. That's very special.
Oh, yeah.
Autograph I have from a convention is I got to meet Paige O'Hara, who is my favorite Disney princess from my favorite movie. She's Belle from Beauty and the Beast. So I got to meet her, and I actually remembered how to speak, which was amazing when I consider. She's like, "Oh, if you're nostalgic, how old were you when Beauty and the Beast came out?" And I'm like, "I wasn't born yet, but I love you." Okay, we're gonna switch
89?
someone in. my friend Missy's gonna pop in now. So hi, Missy.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey, Missy.
Well,
We had guests doing things, so we just rotated someone in early. We're good. But yeah, Missy, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
You just did, but okay.
Hi, this is my friend Missy. She's a disability advocate and my dog's aunt.
And your
Nice.
dog's surrogate mother.
Yeah, no,
Let's be real.
she basically owns my dog. It's fine. But yeah, so since we haven't talked about it a lot, we are here streaming for the What Choice Fundraiser, which is a fundraiser for the National Abortion Federation, which is a multi-state effort to fund abortions, fund those who need to travel for abortions, and fund hotlines as well as fighting in legislatures. So that's really important. We're hoping to make it to 50K. So if you would like to donate, we're going to be announcing some more raffles and stuff in a little bit here when we switch out guests, but that'll be great. But yeah, it's a really important issue for not only women's rights, but for LGBTQ rights, for disability rights, all of it. So yeah. Okay, Missy.
Yes.
What's your Star Wars hot take of the day? You got one? Got a hot take?
You mean other than the fact that I am completely muting you tomorrow? Yeah. I'm
You have to see
actually.
me tomorrow night. I'm your ride to movie night.
Oh God, yeah. So, some friends of ours, and we're doing this mystery movie Monday, where we take turns showing a different movie. We've all predicted she's showing us Rogue One.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but I have like 7 other movies I want to show y'all, so this better run.
And
for
they
a
all
while.
start with Star Wars.
No, they do not actually.
No, it's
Star
actually
Wars or Jurassic Park.
it's actually
that was
James
my other
Gunn's,
prediction.
Scooby-Doo movie.
I would probably
You know, she
show
probably
my
would.
favorite Scooby-Doo movie is Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Phantasaur. I love
Scooby and dinos. Okay.
Okay, but my other have anybody seen, I don't know if anybody's a Supernatural fan. Has anybody seen Scooby Natural?
Yes, it's amazing.
It is my favorite thing on the planet. And my sister and I, whenever we're annoyed, will sit there going, Jinkies, Jeepers, Zoinks, son of a bitch. The first time we showed it to my father, who's the world's biggest Scooby-Doo fan, like the man wears Scooby-Doo socks to work with his dress outfits. Yeah, we thought he was going to pee his pants laughing at that.
Yeah. So I have to I've been listening to you guys, and I will say, as far as you're talking about the trailers, the Chewie We're Home one killed me. That was the one. I was like, oh my God.
I thought I knew where I was going to cry when I saw Force Awakens again. I did not predict there. But I was a mess.
You have to right there. It's just, especially, so I've grown up with, I was born in 81, so Star Wars has been part of my world my entire life. I wasn't like a real big fan. I mean, I liked them, but like probably it's Rachel's fault that I've become as much as a fan as I have now. But actually, Eric, I'm glad you mentioned that moment in Endgame too, because I was in the theater for that one. My whole theater lost it.
Oh yeah, iconic moment.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where like, y'all just saw that, right?
Are we all having this? Is this happening?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
a
I got
movie
to
that
show you guys my new cup I got in Lake Geneva. It says "Sounds gay." I'm in.
Sounds about right.
It says the woman drinking vodka cranberry spritzers out of a "Sounds gay." I'm in cup.
Nice.
It's great. I'm having a great day. It's fine. I'm not con crunching. The same week I'm busy at work. The same week my activist group has a really big meeting. The same week I'm doing Gish. It's fine.
It's a lot of stuff you got going on there. You sure you're going to be ready for tomorrow?
My left eyeball's been twitching for. I'm fine.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if anybody in the comments is going to C2E2 and sees Rey walking around with either Palpatine or Ursula or Captain Carter, that's probably me. Say hi.
Palpatine or Ursula?
Palpatine or Ursula. One of my friends is doing both cosplays. So,
Like different days?
Different days, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a mashup costume. I was supposed to be like, that's impressive.
No,
that would be amazing, though.
No, but yeah,
Wow.
one of the days I know they're going as Palpatine one of the days. I know they're going as Ursula, and I know the other day, if they don't cosplay, my sister's going to be Captain Carter. So, because my sister's love for Marvel begins and ends with Peggy Carter. I mean, she loves all of it, but Peggy Carter's a big thing for her. It's
Here's a
her
fun question for everybody.
What?
Besides Star Wars, what is your number 1B or number 2 fandom?
I'll start easy. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I love Andor. It's been my most anticipated Star Wars series since it was announced. But if I have to pick between Andor and Rings of Power to watch first, it's Rings of Power for me. Lord of the Rings, it's right there with Star Wars. And it's hard to decide sometimes.
If I watch Rings of Power, having seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy once, I really enjoyed them when I watched them after hating Lord of the Rings because people kept trying to introduce it to me with the extended editions. And I do not have the attention span for the extended edition of anything. So if I have questions during Rings of Power, I'm just going to send them all to you, and then you can tell me exactly what it is I missed.
It's fine, but this is like 2,000 years before anything that has happened before.
Okay,
so you
I
don't need to
understand anything.
You don't need to know
Okay,
anything.
good. Good.
You're good.
Yeah.
My
I will
friends
say,
during
though,
COVID made me sit through, and we watched them all in one day. And I think that's the longest I've ever sat still in my life.
That's a rough day.
well,
It was. We have texts of some of my hot takes, and there was a lot of hot takes. I think the phrase "somehow Gandalf has returned" was used a couple of times.
Were you told about the real life happenings behind one particular scene, Alberto? I think you know which one I'm referencing.
Yeah, no, I'd heard about that because remember, I'm in theater, so like
something.
movie behind the scenes stuff is my thing.
I can't help myself. Every time that happens, I'm like, you want to, you know why?
Yeah.
You know, he really broke his toe.
Nudge, nudge. Yeah. And he loved that horse so much, he kept him with him because he loved him.
See, that would be me. Like, if I was on a movie set, I'd be the one who would have adopted all of my horses, all of my dogs. I actually have a friend who did. She adopted the dog that played Bruiser when she was in Legally Blonde, the musical. They got a dog from the shelter, and she kept the dog because it was so bonded to her because she played Elle Woods. Okay, Missy, what's your number 2 fandom?
Oh, gosh. I mean, part of me wants to say MCU, but it kind of ended with Endgame for me. I just felt like that was like a perfect, spot to end it. But that being said,
good, though.
Huh?
Shang-Chi was good.
Yeah, I mean, there have been good ones since then, but it's just been hit or miss for me since then. I do want to see Love and Thunder, but not with you. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think of like nostalgic ones for me. Like, so part of that was the other thing I was going to say about this mystery movie night that we've been doing is that myself and one of our other friends showed basically 80s kids movies. At which point Rachel looked at me and she goes, "How are 80s children just not completely screwed up?" My answer was, "We are."
Sometimes.
David Bowie's bulge was a character in Labyrinth, and in this essay, I will. That and Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Who made that a kids movie?
I just can't believe you hadn't seen it.
I screamed like a 6-year-old girl.
So I was born in 1980 and my wife in 81, and we're slowly showing our kids our 80s movies and early 90s. So, and I was talking yesterday to my wife, they haven't watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit. We gotta get that one. But they refuse to watch
E.T.
E.T.
An adult.
I'm sure.
I watched it as an adult and I was traumatized when his eyes went red.
Yeah, she literally screamed no just as one of our other friends walked out the door.
We were watching on an outside movie projector, so the entire neighborhood heard me. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a movie I've only seen one time.
It was a fine movie. I just was not prepared. I guess it's like the same as like I watched Ghostbusters as like an 11-year-old, and then I watched it as an adult, and I'm like, oh shit.
Ooh, Ghostbusters might be that's another good one that's
like
kind of one of those I'll put on just because it's on movies.
Okay, so once we finish fandoms, I've got a Ghostbusters hot take. That's fine. Mine would have been Harry Potter, but because of the author's transphobic nonsense, we're distant. But that was my big fandom. I was a huge Harry Potter kid. I won so many Harry Potter trivia contests.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard, but the hardest death in Harry Potter was my respect for the author. But I don't know. Other than that, I guess probably now it's either Jurassic Park or Aliens, which are really weird to think of as a franchise. But I love Jurassic Park and I love the Aliens franchise. They even have books now, and they're so good. If you have Audible with the library behind it, there's like audio dramas that take place in the Aliens universe, and they're so good. But don't listen to them if you live alone, because. Eric, what about you?
I have 3, and I'll just rapid fire.
Go for it.
It would be definitely Lord of the Rings, because I grew up with those movies, especially in the early 2000s. I honestly do not like the Hobbit trilogy that much.
Oh, I love the Hobbit movies. Like, I didn't like Lord of the Rings at first, but I loved the Hobbit.
I mean, I love the first Hobbit movie, but the last 2 should have just been one movie. It should have been a duology instead of a trilogy, in my opinion.
I'll give you.
Yeah. My second one would definitely be Ghostbusters. I love that franchise so much. Ghostbusters Afterlife was incredible. And I even like the 2016 movie. The more I watch it, the more I really like that movie.
Thank you. That was my hot take.
And then the third one would have to be I you know, it was going to be Jurassic Park, but I have to say just those 90s Disney movies, man. Those Disney movies from the 90s, just I love them. And I loved the Disney Afternoon with Darkwing Duck and Tailspin and DuckTales and all that stuff. So just bring all of that on.
Very nice. That's actually a really good pick. 90s Disney movies are...
You can't convince me that yours
good.
is not MCU.
Listen, if it wasn't, why, I don't understand. At that point, I shouldn't have Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, Iron Man. It is the MCU, 100%. It is literally a part of me. So
I just wonder why you don't have a Star Wars tattoo.
Too hard to pick.
Am I the only one on the stream who has a Star Wars tattoo, or does other people have Star Wars tattoos? I knew he would.
Very nice.
My wife has a Star Wars tattoo.
I plan to get one eventually.
You can show it if you want to. Just show
I
the
have
art.
my kids' names in Arubesh over here on my
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's cool.
my ribs.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it says "I love you." I know. There's Stardust on there. I don't know. There's a few others.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Stardust, Hope, hello there, Rebel, I love you and I know.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Mine isn't full for Star Wars. It's my grandmother's handwriting, but
But no, Rachel, the one on your forearm, I'm planning on getting one similar to that. But it's gonna have my quote on there, which is "Good people will fight if we lead them."
Reminds
That's a
me.
good one.
Fixing your shirt. Remind me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that earlier, but forgot.
Okay. We had a Bands Off Our Bodies Planned Parenthood rally in our town. Missy and I obviously live in the same town as we're talking about going over to places. And that was her shirt quote for her shirt that she wore that day was "Good people will fight if we lead them."
Yeah, because that's another one of those that talking about, like we were talking about scenes. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it in the theater, but actually, Rachel and I during the pandemic, we had a bunch of us watched movies together, and in Rise of Skywalker, the "There Are More of Us" scene when Poe turns around and just all the ships are there gives me chills every time.
Yeah.
That's a really
See,
good
I
scene.
have my protest sign. Which I really shouldn't just have to keep protest signs just laying around the house, but I feel like the world we live in, I keep protest signs.
I have
hanging
like
around.
3 or 4 of them just
They're just
ready to
there. So
go.
if I need them, I just got one right there. I used to keep one in my car that had a gin quote on it. It just said "The time to fight is now," because no matter what the situation was, you could carry that protest sign.
I think the one you just picked up has the same. You could use that one
Oh, yeah.
for multiple things.
Oh yeah, it's reusable. I'm just gonna get a dry erase board at this point. Like, I can't believe I have to protest this again.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad poster item. It's dry erase board. You can change your thing in the middle of the protest if you wanted.
Yeah, no, look, dude, new update. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I had a big dry erase board I used for Alberto's Rogue One trivia. I don't know where I put it. It's probably on my desk at work under a pile of something.
Somewhere.
I am the least organized person in the world, so it's a pile of things. But yeah.
So with the Andor trailer dropping tomorrow, what are you guys hoping to see? We already have one trailer that wasn't a teaser, it was pretty long. We got a lot of it, but what do you guys hope that we see tomorrow?
Oh, here's
Okay,
my
I'm going
hot
to go
take.
against Brand. I want to see more of Mon Mothma.
My hot take is I know there's going to be a trailer tomorrow, but I don't want to see it. I'm good with what I've seen. And
Are you not going to watch it?
probably not. Hey, we've got what, 30 days? I could make it 30 days. I don't want to see something that I'm like, man, I wish I would have seen that in the show. The teaser that we got at Celebration gave me what I needed, what I wanted, and the turnaround time was so quick that I really haven't been wanting anything newer. However, when something like The Acolyte comes around or Ahsoka, I will watch all of them. Just because favorite character and the time period is super interesting. But yeah, that's my hot take. I'm not going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it 7 times and then cry for a while. Not going to lie to you.
As I would expect.
We are in the
I was
middle
gonna say
of
you'll
our-
find out all the details, David. You don't have to worry about
Probably.
watching it.
I'm going to
Probably.
word vomit them into our chat. I don't know. To me, honestly, the best Andor teaser wasn't actually the Andor teaser. It was that moment in the behind the scenes look we got with Diego Luna. That just says it's the birth of a rebellion, and then I cried for 3 hours. It's fine. We're fine.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rachel. I think seeing more Mon Mothma is going to be really cool.
And everything, and she's like serving Padme level looks. And
it's pretty good.
It's great. I cannot wait to learn more about her. And I cannot wait to see what sort of... Because they say that Cassian's supposed to be in a very different place at the beginning of this than we see him in Rogue One, and I can't wait to see that transformation and what Diego Luna does with it. Because Diego Luna loves being in Star Wars, and that really reflects when you see him do things. Or interviews. He loves being in Star Wars.
We
What
get
about
to see
you
Jabba.
guys?
Let Diego Luna touch Jabba! There's been a Twitter campaign. I might have been running it. For what? Okay, so until the what choice thing took off, my 2 most popular tweets were one where I put my Funko Pops of Cara Dune and Claire from Jurassic World close together and tagged people right when the first episode introducing Cara Dune came out and Bryce Dallas Howard directed, and they both retweeted me, and I died for 3 minutes. But the other most popular tweet I've ever had was about letting Diego Luna touch Jabba the Hutt. And I'm like, my brand. It is very specific, but...
What about you guys, Eric and Alberto? What are your hopes for the trailer tomorrow?
I really haven't thought about it, but I think we might get a reveal at the end, something just to kind of wow people. I think we might get either Tarkin or Krennic, kind of, hey, these people might be there. So I think maybe a reveal like that is something that might show up. But yeah, I just want to learn more about what Andor was doing at that time period. I love everything we're seeing with Mon Mothma. I want to see a lot of, and this is just, I guess, general for the show, not just a trailer. A lot of the everything that's going on in the Senate now that it's controlled by the Empire. Maybe I think Palpatine will appear at some point, even as a hologram or just talking to the Senate. I want to see that dynamic as what is it, the 40 senators or whatever it is that's starting to form the rebellion. I want to see how that forms, and of course with Jimmy Smith and all that. I'm very interested in all that. But I think for the trailer, maybe we'll get a quick glimpse of Tarkin or Krennic or something that connects it to Rogue One a little bit more.
After reading Catalyst recently, I would love to see more of them, really.
Mm-hmm.
I just read Catalyst and they are messy bitches.
Yes, they are.
What about you, Eric? What do you want to see?
This is a great question. Part of me is with David where I just don't want to see anything because between that sizzle reel and then the trailer that we got at Celebration, I think we got enough of the show. However, I am going to watch this trailer tomorrow. I would love to see more Bail Organa. I would also love to see Galen Erso come back and have them like set up the whole him working on the Death Star and trying to put the weakness in under Tarkin and Krennic's nose. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
If Mads Mikkelsen returns to Star Wars, someone's going to have to resuscitate me. Just saying. He's in 2 of my favorite movies, so I love him. He's in, obviously, Rogue One and Casino Royale, which he is creepy as... If you have not seen Casino Royale, he is creepy as hell. As he cries blood in the entire movie.
Just that torture scene.
Yeah, it's a lot. That is what I want out of Andor, but I feel like that's sort of what we got out of Solo, is this, how did this, like, bright young guy become the cynical person? And I feel like we might get some of that in Andor, how the man became the spy. And I feel like Casino Royale, they're going to kill someone. I feel like they're going to kill a lot of someones, to be entirely honest.
Yeah. I think we, or just people out in general, need to be expecting, I guess. Yes, it's called Andor, but I think there's so many ancillary characters, and I don't want to call them secondary characters, but I think it's going to focus on a lot more, especially this first season, than just on Cassian Andor and his journey. Yeah, we'll see that, but I think they've introduced so many more things that are going on in that time period. They're going to be spending a lot of time with those other characters, Mon Mothma, with Bail Organa. I forgot the name of the actor that was in the last trailer. So there's a lot of things going on. So
I'm just wondering if we're going to see Saw Gerrera, because this is taking
course.
place 5 years before Rogue One. If anybody like me is the timeline nerd, 5 years before Rogue One is when Jyn Erso was dumped. So if we're seeing Saw is going to be hot off of losing her. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the other thing, speaking of the timeline, I don't think we'll see it in Andor, but just within this time period, I really want to see more of the path. I just loved that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hot takes. Do we want a season 2 of Kenobi or not?
Nah, I'm okay if we don't get it. Give me something following Moses Ingram, third sister. Give me something with her kind of redemption, trying to find other Jedi in hiding with the Grand Inquisitor chasing her. Give me that story. I think we got what we needed with Kenobi. I won't complain if we get it, but I'm not asking for it.
I'll take a novel.
I saw the meme that was my perfect thing for how I felt. It said, when you want more Kenobi, even though Kenobi ended perfectly, and it's Anakin going, I want more, and I know I shouldn't. I'm like, my feelings on season 2 of Andor.
Yeah, I think I'm with Alberto. I want to see more of a sequel type thing.
Yeah. I think that you told Obi-Wan's story perfectly.
Mhm.
I'm sorry if I cut somebody off. I
Oh no, you're
apologize.
good. I talk over people on StreamYard because I can't tell when you're talking.
But I honestly, I'm with Alberto and I'm with Missy here. If you're gonna do something, do a follow up with Riva, Quinlan Voss, The Path. Like I would love to see that.
Mhm.
Maybe even throw Cal Kestis in there too, because you could really do that. However, the show just ended perfectly. It does not need a second
Mhm.
season at all.
I would even think during a Riva show, I mean, you wouldn't want their paths crossing too frequently because it would obviously raise suspicion, but you could guest Ewan McGregor on it for an episode. Did we just lose David? We just lost David.
Yes.
Cool. But yeah, you
I
could
guess.
even guest Ewan on it for an episode easily
Mhm.
if Reba got in trouble and brought Kenobi in. You know, they parted on good enough terms for people that had been until recently trying to kill each other.
Yeah, but it has to make sense. Like they have to do it in the right way.
I
I almost see her. I mean, well, wishful thinking maybe. I'd like to see her kind of join the path,
Mhm.
like making up for the things that she did and helping other younglings. The other question I had with Andor, if we're going to see more Bail, do you think we're going to see little Leia at all? Even just
God,
like
I hope so.
glimpses? I know, I love her so much.
I hope so.
She'd be 14 though. She'd be older. So it's probably not going to be the same little Leia.
Actually, what you could do is you could adapt one of those one of the storylines from Princess of Alderaan with her and Holdo
Mhm.
doing the whole Senate thing.
Yeah.
Oh God!
that
If I
story.
see little Holdo in live action again, you're going to have to resuscitate me.
Yeah. Where's
I love
Leia? She's in the mountain when they're doing that wilderness, whatever, trying to climb that mountain. Just make a
Yeah.
mention, and you can see a pink hair in the background. Just Holdo just walking by with all the weird things she had in that book.
Yeah. I just think, because if I'm right, that would be about the time that Leia started kind of being
Yeah.
part of things officially, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I have one more Andor hot take real quick.
Okay.
We get a reference to Thrawn.
Ooh,
That makes sense.
that's a hot take.
That is a hot take. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't want to expand on it because I feel like I would just be talking out of my ass. But like he is in the Empire at that time.
Mhm.
So you can definitely mention him. You don't need to show him, but you can mention him.
Yeah.
And also mention the rebels on Lothal at that same time too.
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask. So this, as far as the time period, is about the same time as Rebels?
It'd be about when Rebels starts to about a year before Rebels starts. So it's
Yeah.
gonna.
Okay.
But so second season definitely runs concurrently to Rebels.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe in the second season they can do more of that. But yeah, a quick Thrawn mention, knowing that most likely he's gonna be in the Ahsoka show, just make a little bit of connection there. That would be a good one.
Oh, it would be. So we are running at the end of our first time slot. Eric and Alberto, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you? And then we will say goodbye for the evening.
I'll start.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Alberto.
We'll go in alphabetical order. I'll start.
Sure.
So you can see me down there at Twitter and Instagram at Radio Rebel Pod. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we do live YouTube shows every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We just had one yesterday talking about our favorite Star Wars book, talking about hot takes. We had a lot of hot takes. I'll just say here, Lost Stars didn't make it to the top 5, either mine or my co-host Oti. So if he comes in after I leave, you can just scream at him. But yeah, there's a lot of great Star Wars books. So for Lost Stars not to make it, it's a lot. So and then we release them as audio podcasts on Monday. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it live, you can always listen to it afterwards. Next week, in preparation for Andor, we're doing a Rogue One watch party. Rachel unfortunately won't be able to join us, but that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to join us next week at 5, and then getting Ready for Andor. A bunch of great guests are going to be there. And if you want to just follow my personal account, if you want, I don't use it that much, but you can always check me out at Tweets by AC. And that's basically it. Love talking Star Wars. It's like everyone here. And I might be doing a lot of Rings of Power tweets when it comes out. It's a Star Wars podcast and Twitter handle. Will be a lot of the Rings heavy in September.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at SB Transmissions. We do a weekly YouTube live show every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. This week we talked about Magic Band Plus and the Batu Bounty Hunt. We also broke down this week's High Republic show, so that was a lot of fun too. We do a lot of book discussions. We just kicked off our road to Andor, and we are gonna continue that. So that is going to be a lot of fun. And like Alberto, Rings of Power is gonna dominate September, man. I'll tweet about Andor and Rings of Power and probably Bad Batch when that comes out, and that'll probably be it.
I'm writing my list of people that when something in Reigns of Power confuses me, I'm writing my list of people to call.
Yeah. That's
Over
fine.
here. Yeah. I'm going over the appendix in the Return of the King, which matches up with what's going to happen in the Second Age and during the Rings of Power. So yeah, we're ready for you, Rachel.
Do I get canceled if I've never read The Lord of the Rings? Just watch the movies?
No.
Okay.
It
I
took
read
me.
The Hobbit. I really, really liked The Hobbit, but I threw the book at a wall when I was done.
I watched the trilogy, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not knowing what it was. I had never read the Lord of the Rings book. I had never heard about it when the first movie came out, and I just fell in love because I loved every fantasy world. And when I decided to read the book, I put it down the first time. I read the first 100 pages, and they were still in Bilbo's birthday. And I can't do this. And I came back about 3 or 4 years later, and then just went through it, and I loved it.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on. We will hopefully talk to you soon, and thank you for supporting What Choice.
Thanks
so
for
good to
having
talk
us.
to you guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
All right, bye.
Okay, we have a quick drawing. Well, I've been asked to do the drawing for the Geeky Waffle.
And this is for what?
This is for a High Republic prize pack that they got. Ooh. And I have my random number generator and the numbers. So I'm going to hit generate. And Chelsea is the winner of the Geeky Waffle prize pack.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Let me get a banner. So I don't know if YouTube's captioning me or not. But yeah, Chelsea wins the Geeky Waffle prize pack. We are also starting another raffle. We have a couple of prizes. I'm putting together a Star Wars prize pack. So far it has a little remote control BB-8, not one of the nice programmable ones, but a little remote control BB-8. A Star Wars Pride bag, an IG-11 figurine. There will be more stuff in it once I go to C2E2. Another prize is a copy of a book called Molly's Psalm that one of my friends wrote about an Irish woman who comes to the U.S. during the Civil War. Also in the raffle as a prize is my beloved figurine that just came. So you can tell how serious I am about this raffle if I'm giving it away, but the Target exclusive Galen Erso Black Series.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
I know. I'm giving away my Galen Erso Black Series that I ordered 6 months ago, but it's going in the prize pack. If you donate $10 or more to What Choice, we will be putting up a Google form for you to enter your receipt in there. Please donate. Please help. And we're going to bring in our second round of guests. Yay. As people are just popping in. Okay. Everybody's looking great today. Oh, good.
Oh, I love it, Kiki.
Oh, Kiki, I love the new cosplay.
Thank you.
So good. So good. The hood sells it. We don't use
trying to like argue with my. There we go. I'm arguing with my computer. There we go.
That's okay. I do that a lot. Well, hello everyone. We have some guests who have been on our streams before and some new ones. We want to start top row, then bottom row. Introduce yourselves.
All right, so I guess that's me because everybody else has already been on.
Yep.
So, excuse me. My name's Mitch. I am one of the co-hosts of the Geek Awakens podcast. As you can tell, we started right around when The Force Awakens started, so we didn't steal the name or anything. We totally stole the name.
I was going to ask you about that, but I only ever see you at work, so I didn't really feel like interrogating you about it.
It was one of those things where we were trying to come up with a name, and every name that we came up with, it had already been taken. And so, finally, this was the Force Awakens had been announced, and here I am. I'm at Soho or Down Home or some festival in downtown Springfield, and I'm like, the Geek Awakens. I bet nobody has that yet, and so here we are. So,
Kiki, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Black PNW Lady on all socials. I go by Kiki online. I talk about a lot of things pop culture on TikTok, social media, but I love Star Wars. I grew up watching the original trilogy, the old school before they I remember Yub Nub. That's how old school I am. I heard Yub Nub. So when I watched the new changed up versions in the late 90s, I was so confused. What happened to the Ewok scene? That's where I'm from, generation wise.
Sarah, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. You might hear the outdoors a little bit, so if that's annoying, let me know and I'll close the door, but I've just been enjoying the lovely weather. I'm Sarah. I am a co-host on Friends of the Force podcast. I totally empathize with Mitch's deeply difficult naming process. And I am, like Rachel and Mitch, a fellow Illinoisan. So happy to be here on the stream again, and happy to be joining you all for What Choice.
Yeah, we are going to have to meet up at C2E2. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
yes.
Ace, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, as I finally got all my things logged in, because of course my computer wasn't logged in to Streamlabs for some. It's fine. My name is Ace.
Confused him by giving him the times in Eastern time and forgetting to remind him that I was giving him the times in 2 different time zones.
Okay, we'll blame you.
Exactly. So I'm
It's
Ace
always my fault. I'm sorry. Okay.
Let him introduce himself.
Shane. No apologies. I'm Ace Overton on virtually everything except my Instagram, which is, if you really want to see it, Ace Overton 2120, as I rarely post to it. I'm a streamer. I'm also a podcaster of times, though my podcasts are changing because a partner wants to set me up with a podcasting network for some reason because he wants more people to hear me. So shame on him. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, a bigger fan of the books themselves. I'm also one of those people that tend to like the things that are a little awkward, like The Phantom Menace is one of my favorites of the entire whole series. And people always look at me weirdly, and I'm like, because Darth Maul, okay? Name a better bad guy that was more impressive when he came on the screen. You saw Darth Maul and you were scared for them, like, oh, he's serious. He's that guy. Still is the same way around. Huge fan of the books. Recently was talked into buying my own lightsaber for the first time, of a high replica one by somebody here.
I did not. I am being accused of things that I didn't do.
I didn't say any names. I just said that somebody did it and they spoke up themselves, which to me admits all the guilt. So highly opinionated, love to joke around, and a big lover of the Star Wars universe just in general on all accounts. So I'm happy to be here. Yeah,
we are here for the What Choice fundraiser. And if you guys haven't checked that out, I've put the links in the thing below. Support What Choice, support the Amidala initiative, because our trans siblings are having a really rough time right now as well. But yeah, support all of those, support your local charities. I don't know, adopt a pet from an animal shelter. Just do good. Do it somewhere.
Don't be a jerk.
Do good.
Don't be a jackass.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, Boots.
I mean, have you not seen the
Sometimes you
country we
need
live in?
I was about to say, sometimes you need to pause and ask yourself the question: would Anakin Skywalker do this? And then if the answer is yes, you need to then pause and be like, but was this a good Anakin Skywalker?
I like it. I like
Sometimes
it.
he made good decisions. Sometimes like he just like stood up in the middle of a battlefield to have a casual conversation with Obi-Wan as people are firing at him. Like sometimes he didn't have good decisions.
The problem with Anakin Skywalker is that Anakin Skywalker's decision-making process was, is this the most dramatic thing I could possibly be doing at this moment? If the answer is yes, he did it.
Yes.
Sometimes that was the right answer. Sometimes that was the wrong answer.
Look,
But
okay.
if there's anything that's in that man's legacy, it is doing the most dramatic thing possible.
Mm-hmm.
In his defense, if I was a super space ninja with space magic who was all powerful and prophesized to be the one, I'm gonna be arrogant also, okay? I don't care this is a battlefield. I can lift a starship and throw it across the whole battlefield. We're not worried about these guys. I'm the main character. I have a magical light sword of energy that most people can't even put together and hold without killing themselves. I'm not worried about what they're talking about. Me and my bro are talking here, okay?
I mean,
We're
his
really the
son
ones
did
that's
look
important.
down the barrel of.
Exactly.
Look,
I blew up
the
an
love of
entire
drama was
space
inherited.
armada as like a 10-year-old child. Okay, I'm a legend in the making. I'm not worried about these guys. They just don't know they're dead yet.
I saw a tweet once and it was like her like I don't remember, it was a tweet or something, and it was talking about that scene where where Darth Vader's like, come join me, like, and Luke is like, no, and he like lets go and he falls down, and somebody was like, that he totally looked after Luke falling and was like, yeah, that's definitely my kid.
I was gonna say Skywalker blood.
Definitely,
Yep.
definitely Skywalker. That is definitely my child.
As a parent, yes, you see those moments where you're like, that's me right there. That trait is all me. I'm sorry. Sorry.
That was not
my
Padme,
fault.
but that was me. Like right
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, just to kind of go something we talked about in the previous group, and I think Ace already kind of started us off. What's your Star Wars hot take?
I told people to prepare hot takes.
I have my
Ace
hot
just
take.
says.
I'm never one to shy away from controversial statements, as anyone knows me. So I will say it. My controversial hot take is that I believe that the new trilogy was a bad take on the Legacy of the Force books, which I think was a far superior story. That I feel that they butchered, chopped, and screwed to give a story they thought was better. And to me, I feel that we are missing out on what could have been great. There was a whole Jedi Council that could have been put out there. There was a whole Hand of the Emperor assassin and Mara Jade that we just don't have anymore. There was a whole Legacy of Skywalker children that were out there. And there was also Janna, aka who Rey turned out to be in the new ones, that could have been out there and been the same exact person and been even more epic, because you'd also got her training with the Mandalorians and Boba Fett. You could have got all the crossovers that you could have wanted out of everything put out there, and we did. The story we got was cool, but the books were far superior and some of the best story writing I ever saw. Overall, you could have had multiple lightsaber fights. Whole new Sith Lord who's not as overly emo openly.
I told you, I got into the Star Wars trilogies with Force Awakens and Kylo Ren, because unfortunately the one thing that attracts me to a character is if I look at him and go, I could fix him. There's a lot of problems in my life that started with the phrase, I could fix him.
I respect that. You could have still got that with Janna's Jace Solo is probably one of the best villain characters around, second to Darth Maul because he was cooler. But he did all the cool villain things that I could respect. He was like, oh, I'm not going to just be an out-and-out villain. I'm going to subvert everything. I'm going to become general of the entire galactic army, become a war hero because of my dead brother, also named Anakin, because, of course, there had to be an Anakin Solo as a new child. Took over, did all these cool things, became the Super Sith Lord, did some epic stuff, had his own people kind of look at him like, Darth Vader was your grandfather. I don't know if I feel comfortable working on this ship around you and telling you bad news. Because I heard what your granddaddy did to people who told him bad news. He yeeted them across the room after snapping their neck. I don't feel comfortable about this. And then over all that was also still tough enough to go and fight people head up himself. Somebody was an issue and they got a little bit too close. He would have fought them themselves, like, they're a little bit too strong. And was also still scared of Luke, who was like this mythical epic figure that nobody ever wanted to deal with because it's Luke Skywalker. He beat Vader and the Emperor. You can't. And he started a whole council of new Jedi. Oh, and his wife was the Emperor's old Jedi assassin because she existed and just happens to be out here. And of course, they had a kid who's now just running around. Oh, and he can just disappear from the Force now because his children can do that. Because why not? We added all the cool things. Cinematography wise, I think this would have been an amazing story to watch pull out. It would have been even more epic. You'd have had all the cool things. It just would have been so good. So good.
Yeah.
Hills I'll still die on is that Rey is amazing, and that I am not mad that we got the sequel trilogy we got, although I would like any other story too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Missy, do you have a hot take?
I don't know how much of a hot take it is, but as much as I love Rise of Skywalker, I could have done without Palps. I think they could have taken it. I think
General Hux would have been a really good last villain because that's
I was started to say Snoke, but I love the way
really
they ended
scary.
Snoke. But yeah,
that was one of the best experiences I had in the theater. Though, is the second Kylo killed Snoke. I'm like, I have no idea where this trilogy is going now, and I'm
right, which is why I say that. But yeah, maybe Hux. But I think they could have taken it. It would have been, you know what? It would have been really interesting is if Hux or even I don't know somebody else, like bringing back all the Sith, like what Palps did in the end, but just have it be some, fanboy kind of like how Kylo was for Vader.
Sith fanboy was behind putting all this together.
You know,
I mean, is it any worse than Palpatine was behind it all?
I mean, you know what? I feel like that'd have been a very much a clear shot at the Star Wars fandom in general. Like, yes, the worst of you did the worst, and this is what could happen when that happens.
Might be the lesson we needed.
I mean, I feel like there was a lesson there that was missed. It could have been a tweet. I think that could have worked.
Yep. Mitch, what about you?
Do you have? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I've got 3. How many do you want right now?
Give us your top.
Give me your top 2, and then we'll move on, and then we'll come back.
Okay. I will save my hottest of hot takes for later. How about that?
Okay.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So first off, Rose Tico deserves better.
Yes.
She's a phenomenal character, one that I would love to see fleshed out, whether in comics or a Disney Plus series or whatever.
Lego specials.
Yeah, did not deserve not even half the hate that she got. I say this, and then my second hot take, and this kind of also includes the MCU as well. Disney Plus is doing too much. It is becoming very hard to keep up with everything. I'm behind on a lot of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows as well as the Marvel shows, just because it's like, hey, this one just ended. Here's another one, and I have to work for a living, even though I don't want to.
And you have other shit to watch. Like, the entirety of your life cannot just be Star Wars, right?
My
Exactly.
thing is, I feel like I don't get that with Star Wars as much because maybe once they start airing Andor and Bad Batch, but I don't know how Marvel fans do it.
Oh, I'm like 6 series behind on Marvel.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like Missy and I haven't even watched Moon Knight. And
I'm gonna drink my water
Missy
because
feels about Oscar Isaac.
I'm all caught up, so I'm gonna just drink my water on this.
I
So lucky.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry.
No. Kiki, you were speaking. Please go
I
ahead.
whipped up a TikTok a couple of months ago because I made they're like, what's your MCU hot take? And I was like, the MCU is about to run itself dry. And everybody was like, and I was like, no, at this point you have 50 plus hours of viewing for just the films. And then you have the TV shows. And I was like, you have to now watch the TV shows to understand what's happening in the movies, versus when this began, and I was there at the inception of the Iron Man coming out. The idea was you showed up to one film a year. It was for the casual viewer. And like everybody was fighting me. And now like everybody's like, yeah, this is kind of getting overwhelming. And I'm like,
yeah, I apologize, Kiki. I thought it was Sarah speaking, but it was you. But yeah, I said this earlier in the stream. I don't know if you guys heard it, but for me, the MCU kind of ended with Endgame. I thought that was such a good. I mean, I do love some of the stuff that's come out since, but it's more like pick and choose rather than like I had to see it all.
I am right there. I'm right there too. I've just kind of given up on seeing everything. If it doesn't speak to me, I'm not going to spend my time on it, and that's okay.
I am ready for the new Black Panther, though.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
1,000%.
Yes. Yeah.
You mean emotional trauma, the movie? Yes.
They're going to have to start handing out like little packs of tissues, like as people walk into the theater. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be able to get through that movie without having some sort of emotional response. So I look forward to going through that set of emotions, because maybe I need it in a collective setting.
At this point, I think it's just group therapy. It's like every time they release something Star Wars on Twitter, it's like, okay, we're all going to talk about our feelings for a day. Come on, let's talk about our trauma.
I mean, I will give them credit. When I look back at it, I was like, Phase 4 from Marvel and Disney was just Kevin Feige and looking at each other like, so we're going to hit all the diversity, and we're going to press all of the emotional breakdowns and generational trauma in a row. And then there's black people sitting here laughing. It was like, ha ha, Shang-Chi and Turning Red. Y'all got all that in Kanto, ha ha ha. And then they just kind of look like, oh, you thought we forgot about y'all? Oh, no. We got Black Panther 2 trailer. Play the trailer. And then everybody collectively that I've seen is black was like, we're good. And then the song just came in. I was like, oh, I'm not fine. I'm not okay. I'm not. Yeah. I don't know. I'm nervous. I need to run. My hands are sweaty. I can't stop looking. I'm emotional.
The music that they played for that trailer was phenomenal. Like they could not have done a better choice.
It was emotional terrorism, and I will not take any questions on that. They knew what they did.
So, side note, but talking about music and a trailer, when the trailer for Kenobi came out and they started with Duel of the Fates, I was like, no.
I turned to Brad, who's my podcast co-host, and I was like, okay, I know that Kenobi is coming out when Celebration happens, but imagine we were all in the room to watch this. Like, imagine we were all in the room to watch this, because we would all just have screamed, just the entire time. And they would have been like, roll it again, and we would have been like, yes.
Damn.
So.
Ian McDermott voice, play it again.
You know, I didn't turn out to be a Rise of Skywalker fan, but that moment, I was sitting in an overflow room, and my friend Lauren Romo of the Galactic podcast, she's like holding me, we're like holding each other, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And then she whispers to me like, "What's that?" When she saw it, I was like, "It's a Death Star! It's a Death Star!" And then I like see him walk onto the stage, and we just start screaming. That was one of the most iconic, I feel like, core Star Wars memories for me is when Ian McDermott walked out and then couldn't say roll it again, and then he got to it. Like, top moments.
So I don't even know why, but I was at Party City when the trailer for the Rise of Skywalker came out, and like I don't know if like I just got a notification or somebody texted me or something, but it was like Palpatine is back. So like here I am, literally in the middle of Party City, and again I don't know why. And like I've stopped what I'm doing. I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, yes, we will play it again.
That's a good way to
do you have a Star Wars hot take?
I do. Oh, heavens. What is it? Well, I've got multiple ones.
See, it's always hard just to pick the one. I should have been like Mitch and be like, I got a couple. Here's the one I'm going to give you right now.
Okay, I guess I'll go with the very easy, low-hanging fruit. Rey should not have been a Palpatine.
Yes, thank you.
She should have been a nobody.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess like that's not really that much of a hot take. But I guess my second hot take that's way more kind of deep that I actually made a TikTok about today is that Anakin turns to the dark side because he was a slave.
Because he was what?
Because he was a slave.
I did see it.
Unprocessed generational trauma.
Yeah,
Yep.
like everything that would have gone into his experience as a slave. Essentially, the long story argument is, if you go through a significant amount of trauma where you live every single day wondering if your mom is going to be home when you get back or if they're going to sold her off, that might make you very codependent, which then what is your number one priority as a grown adult? Nobody who is close to me emotionally is ever going to leave me. So you will do whatever you can to make sure that they are never taken away from you.
And
So
then they
deal
threw him
with
into
that.
a war.
You decide, fuck it, let's overthrow the galaxy. Like,
Yeah.
It's cool. You know what? This child with all this clear trauma and there's all this worry that the Jedi Council is even like, maybe we shouldn't do this. He's going to be kind of strong if we do this. I don't think he's mentally prepared with our indoctrination process that we have, that we don't talk about either, that the Jedi just indoctrinated people like the Sith. We're just going to make him really powerful and just, let him run around the galaxy with this other loose cannon of a Jedi that we already can't control, and let them just, go do Jedi things and call on them when they get back. And then we're going to tell him, hey, no, you can't go save your mother because, it's not like the Jedi Council could have just went and bought his mother. Like, you need your mother? We'll bring your mother here and keep her safe with us. Then you're okay.
That was the thing that always bugged me.
The only character in Star Wars that ever made an honest attempt to end slavery was Padme.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
Sarah, hot takes.
How spicy should I get with these hot takes? Like
Dirty
really
I
hot
know,
takes, like a really hot pepper, not so, because like.
as long as you don't attack Din Djarin for some reason with me, I'm like, Din Djarin, there's no criticism.
Look,
people are like,
he is
there's a
baby.
problem. I was like, there's no fucking problem with Din Djarin or the Mandalorian. Shut up. They could do filler episodes for 5 seasons. I'd be like, roll the tape, motherfuckers, roll the tape.
Okay, so scratching my Mandalorian take from the hot take list. I will not
It could be
talk
a
about how I think
Mandalorian hot take.
Mandalorians
You're just
are
not-
kind of bland. I'm not going to talk about that.
You're just not allowed to say anything about him personally because he is a perfect himbo.
Yes.
No.
So like my like kind of specific hot take is that a lot of people like to say that The Last Jedi is Pride and Prejudice in space. I disagree. And I have much love for my Pride and Prejudice Last Jedi friends. They are very close to my heart. We are friends, like we go way back. But The Last Jedi is Jane Eyre in space.
I haven't read Jane Eyre. I need to read Jane Eyre and then we're going to talk about this.
I'm totally not Googling Jane Eyre to make sure I know which one that is.
So Jane Eyre is by Charlotte Bronte and is the story of Jane Eyre, who is like an orphan. She gets kind of outcasted from her aunt's home into a girls' school where she loses her friend. I'm spoiling Jane Eyre for you. Sorry, audience.
Wait, to be fair, the book came out in like what, the 1700s? Like
1815, something like that. Yeah. It's been a minute. But
everybody.
Yeah, it's worth reading. It's really good. But it's very gothic and spooky. And there's this whole symbolism throughout the whole time with the Red Room. She gets like locked into this room as a child, and it becomes a traumatic experience for her. And then so she like graduates school. She becomes a governess in this like remote mansion for Mr. Rochester, who's kind of intimidating. He like, does he like her? Does he not like her? Like he literally brings in another woman and her family into their home and like makes her sit in the parlor. It's like watch these social interactions, but he's actually like, I like you. He once dresses up as like a witch and like reads her fortune and like, but he doesn't know it's him. It's a whole thing. And he keeps hearing things in the night, right? She like keeps hearing things. And it turns out it's his wife in the attic that he's keeping up there. Anyway, long story really short, she leaves after learning about all this. She comes back because through the spiritual, force sense, she hears her name said by him. They get married. Also, the wife burned the house down. It's a whole thing. Anyway, Last Jedi is Jane Eyre in space. In this essay, I genuinely have written essays about this. 4 grades. That's fair, Susan. Yeah. But yeah, that's my hot take. My other hot take is even spicier, and it's that I can give or take the original trilogy.
Ooh, there's a...
Like, people are like, Empire Strikes Back is a perfect movie, and I'm like, it's kind of slow, but I appreciate and respect your opinion.
I don't even think Empire
wrong.
Strikes Back is my. It might be like the best one out of the original trilogy, but my heart does not go to it. I am waiting next year. It's going to be the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, and if they release it in theaters, I have to go see it at the drive-in because it's my dog's favorite movie.
I'm going with you.
Perfect. I love that.
Okay, we can leave Snoopy at home, but Boots has to come with us. It's his favorite movie. He loves Ewoks.
But he hates Yoda.
I feel like the original trilogy is good and fine and enjoyable, but I don't understand why we continue to like mine this particular nostalgia when there's so much more to Star Wars than this specific thing. So yeah, I'm a prequel kid, so that's also part of my experience is that I grew up watching the prequels. I have much more like everyday experience with the prequels, and like Attack of the Clones is a perfect road trip movie. Is my other hot take. Road trip, Attack of the Clones.
I mean, I'm not going to say I had that exact argument with somebody who's a photographer and director who has a big thing for nostalgia and was like, the new ones are trash. And I was like, have you seen the old ones really? Or are you just putting your childhood up on the pedestal?
Is this somebody I know, like I'm going to have to fight later?
It's somebody I don't talk to anymore. He had issues of thinking that for some reason his girlfriend I'd known for a decade that I somehow was trying to steal her from him. And I'm like, I knew her before you. You live halfway across the country. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm okay. I do have my other hot take that I remembered. I hate the idea that they teased Finn with a lightsaber and he wasn't, unfortunately, force sensitive or ever trained as a Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give me that, and then don't give me lightsaber Jedi black man. Don't give me. I only got Mace Windu at this point. Don't do that to me. Don't. No.
They
I see what
keep
you
doing it in the Lego Star Wars. Is giving me Finn as a Jedi, and I never expected to get everything I needed from Lego Star Wars.
Hey, look.
Like the Star Wars that's consistently giving me what my heart needs is Lego Star Wars.
Speaking of the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special on Disney Plus, August 5th.
Oh my
Go watch it.
Yeah,
Hey,
Summer vacation. I don't know the words I'm saying anymore. Summer vacation. It's really good.
You know what?
You got a screener?
It's on the list. Because I'm caught up on watching stuff.
This is live. Stop. We can't talk. We literally cannot talk about it. I cannot say anything more.
I will say, like, it just, my brain popped up another, like, hot take, which is one that I talk with a lot of Black folks about, which is, I'm like, you know, Lando, for the situation that he was put in Empire Strikes Back, didn't do anything wrong in how he handled that entire situation. And, like, a lot of people are like, oh, but he betrayed his friend. And I'm like, well, no, he was in charge of an entire city of people and responsible for their well-being. Got handed an ultimatum, which is 3, like, you know, 2 humans and Chewbacca for an entire city.
Yes.
And I was like, if you were putting that, there's 2 bad scenarios, but one of them has thousands of people and one has 3 people.
And and honestly, I feel like he knew Han and Chewie well enough to know they'd be okay.
If anybody can get out of this problem, it'll be you guys. The city, on the otherwise, is done for if I don't make this deal.
Right. Thousands of people who cannot evacuate just that quickly from the Empire without prior warning. Like, I was like, there's 2 bad scenarios. That's the whole idea. There's 2 bad. Which is the one? Which is the scenario pick? Your friends, or you do think thousands of people?
I will say that as a forever DM for Dungeons and Dragons and games and stuff that I run, I love putting my players in those situations where there is no good idea and watching them squirm, because then the morality comes out. Some are like, let the city burn. And then the other ones are like, how could you do that? It's like, I don't know these people. And it's like, I mean, I can respect that because that's a very accurate of you and your character. And the others are like, we'll defend the city against all of it. It's like, cool. So you're going to fight a whole army with the 4 of you. I respect that also. I will murder you all in this game.
I would say that clearly my character that we made would fare better, but I also put all of my points into intimidation.
I mean, yeah, you kind of rolled a kind of ridiculously dangerous character, but hey, you know what? It just happens to be named Stardust, because why wouldn't she be?
Yes. I think Lando is honestly one of my favorite parts of the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I have something that should not be a hot take, but might be, which is the most consistently good character in Star Wars is Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Chewbacca has never done anything wrong in his life.
Chewbacca's been an OG since day one. He was just down with the squad. You know what? Chewbacca feels like that friend who gets the really reckless friend. And you just always look at him like, why are you like this? Like, why can't you just chill?
Well, I mean, you've heard the thing where it's like Han and like Chewbacca and Han Solo is the story of a man and his dog, and Han Solo is the dog.
Yes.
Like,
And like
Chewbacca
they
is
said,
the only
Han Solo
adult in
would have
that.
lived a lot longer if he'd been neutered.
Like in that entire situation, Chewbacca is the only adult in the original trilogy with like the core group, like the only adult. Like you got the Chaos Twins and you got Han Solo, and then you have like an emotionally wrecked golden droid, and then you have the Chaos robot, which is R2D2. Chewbacca is the only adult in this situation.
Chewbacca is the Star Wars dad, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
I have a meme that I post like literally every time it comes across my timeline, which is it was from The Last Jedi, and people keep arguing who Rey's dad is, whether it was Luke Skywalker, whether she's a Kenobi, whether she's a thing. No. Chewbacca's here driving her to Jedi practice, telling her to check in after she visits her boyfriend. Her search for a father is over.
Pretty much, yeah.
No.
As soon as she hopped in the ship, it's like, all right, sit down, make sure you buckle your seatbelt. Buckle your seatbelt.
Do I need to get you a booster seat? Have you eaten today? Rey, are you hydrated?
That's cool.
I just think it's funny that when Rey has to break into Luke's hut, like literally she's just like, yo, Chewbacca. And Chewie, this man he's known for all of these years, just whips out his door across the room because a 19-year-old just told him to. And Chewie's like, yeah, sorry, she said to.
But honestly, Chewie knows that Luke he was pulling some shit, so he just needed to be.
If y'all want to like cry, if you read the Last Jedi novel, Rey explains what happens to Han because she can't make Chewbacca do it. If anybody would like emotional trauma with their Sunday night,
it's all fine.
Read the novelizations of Last Jedi and read the novelization of Rogue One if you like to cry.
I just reread Rogue One.
We are doing a lead up to Andor series, and we recorded about Rebel Rising with Beth Revis, who, of course, Princess and the Scoundrel, coming out in 2 weeks. Read it; it's great.
Pre-order your copy.
I'm reading on my. I keep reading it. I've got my galley on my phone, and so I read it whenever I have a few minutes. So I'll read something and be like, "Can't squeal, can't squeal." Am in trouble.
I just want to say that I am like 75 pages into it, and I've already cried twice. Beth Revis is a goddess, like a wonderful person who's just absolutely killing me with her pitch perfect characterizations of Han and Leia. I'm like, brutal. It's great. Having a great time. Like genuinely.
She's also just a fantastic human being and has been a joy the 2 times we've had her on this podcast.
That's nice.
Yeah, then we did Catalyst, which is also known as How Homoerotic Can We Make Everybody in the Empire?
I mean, there's a lot of repressed feelings in the Empire. It's got to come out somehow.
Okay, we know Tarkin from the Tarkin novel. We know Tarkin is somewhere on the queer spectrum. Krennic and Galen, I'm like, y'all got a vibe, and I think y'all need to take it in the other room. His wife is here, for the love of God.
Speaking of the Empire, I don't know if y'all are on TikTok, but there is a creator who she is like the HR of the Empire.
Oh God, I love her.
I can't remember her. I can't remember her at. Anyone puts her at. The funniest thing that I've ever seen. Like she went around Star Wars Celebration handing out citations to people.
That is wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
she's like, I don't know what her ad is, but she's Dolores from HR, and she's like, sir, Mr. Mandalorian, sir, no child, no bringing your children to work.
Kids to work. That is not. That's against regulations. I'm gonna have to write you up for that.
Funniest thing ever.
Which is wonderful.
That brings me back to. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ace.
Oh, you're good. I was just laughing at just people that do that on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because I found one of them that did that. That did it for. I'm a huge anime guy, not noticing all the posters beside me. But from My Hero Academia, where there's a high school of kids with superpowers and learning how to be superheroes, and she did being their guidance counselor. She was like, all these kids have trauma and they never brought in a guidance counselor. And she gave herself the power that she can just, she always tells the truth unless she gets drunk. So somebody will come in and talk about something like, so is something wrong with me? And she'll just pull out a huge bottle like,
I was about to say, if she's the guidance counselor, she has to like sit down with like an entire thing of like a keychain thing, and then have like a salad and be shaking it up as she's talking.
Oh, she has those moments, and she also abuses some of the other children.
Home. Mm-hmm.
Oh, like the angry child that like intimidates everybody. She always like rips him down. She'll come in like witch. She's like demon child. It's like, I like you. You fight back. I like you. But
So-
yeah, I love TikTok for that.
What I was just gonna say is just talking about Chewie, and then something Kiki said earlier reminded me. So if we all had like a top 3 something in Star Wars, like my top 3 dads in Star Wars, and these are in no particular order, is Chewie, Din, and Bail.
Yeah, my top 3 is just Bail, and Bail.
Well, yeah, okay, fair.
I would put in the 4th honorable mention as Galen Erso, but
yeah, he's up there. But...
I'm also reading Shadow of the Sith, so Rey's dad might redeem himself.
To me, it's just that moment in the Mandalorian trailer when, I can't think of her name. Bo-Katan said, "Your daddy something." I'm like, ah.
That's just because you want to call him daddy, Missy.
Everybody want to call Din Djarin daddy.
Honey, that is Oscar Isaac in my world, but
everybody
no,
is
because
calling
I
him
love
daddy.
that baby so much.
My top 3 Star Wars dads, I would have to agree with some of those. One person that I would add, I literally just had it in my brain, like Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes.
Like, I think he would be a very good like Jedi Master / parent figure in your life. Like,
he's the chaotic grandfather.
Yeah.
He's the one that
like,
you leave
sure,
the kid
why
with,
not?
and then when you come back, you're like, why are there dead bodies around here? What did y'all do? I can explain.
He would be in my top 3 masters, only because that's the thing that's always bugged me about the Jedi is, the minute you tell a kid you can't touch that thing, the dark side, that's the first thing they're gonna go do. And he's like, yeah, go figure it out.
Qui-Gon showing up at the end of Obi-Wan and being sassy as fuck.
I screamed, it's him!
My sister had a thing because we posted the picture of him as a Force ghost with his umbrella from the set of Phantom Menace. She goes, yeah, I saw that ending. It's where he walked up, handed Obi-Wan a margarita, and Obi-Wan says that I've got a bad feeling about this. My sister
Lego needs to do that.
My sister has a whole idea for the 2nd season of Kenobi, but it's entirely based around the fact that only Obi-Wan can see Qui-Gon.
Yes.
And also, apparently, Qui-Gon's a bartender because it involves them getting Darth Vader drunk and Darth Vader being like, I don't care what Obi-Wan did, turn the suns down.
I like that.
Trying to think what top lists. Okay, so for those who have not said them before, I don't know if we've gone around. What's your favorite Star Wars movie and your favorite Star Wars character?
Does it have to be from the movies or shows? Because mine.
No. But you have to keep your explanation of the book to under 2 minutes, Ace.
I'll keep it very clear because mine is simple. I love the Phantom Menace because it's the appearance of Maul, who I thought was grossly underused in the movies. Shout out to the Disney Attack of the Clone series for bringing him back. And Darth Bane from the Darth Bane series, The Rule of Two, which explains why there's only ever 2 Sith, because it's like having a demonic house of frat boys if you leave them all together, and they will murder each other with reckless abandon. And I think that as a villain, he, in theory, technically is the one who taught Palpatine all those things. As there's, I can't say it without spoiling a twist in the book, but let's just say that Palpatine might have not actually been Palpatine, is the better way to say it. And I like the idea that ever comes to light. I will accept the new series in all of its glory of a trilogy. But yeah, Darth Bane's way better than that.
Mitch, what about you?
Okay. Can we count the holiday special?
Yes.
Which one?
You
Yes.
do you have to ask that question?
The holiday
Yes,
special is
yes
a
to
work
both.
of art.
I mean,
Which
it is, but we don't say
if
the
y'all
quality.
donate $100 to the What Choice fundraiser and email me the receipt, you can join my viewing of the holiday special. Because I said this assuming nobody would donate that much money, and 3 of my friends have. So apparently, I have personally raised $300 for abortion access because my friends like to torture me.
And you're gonna watch it sober. Let's say
No,
Yeah.
I
Whoa.
am
alcohol
not.
is
Oh,
what
yeah.
is fun.
I live in a legal state. I'm gonna go get edibles.
I was about to say that holiday special is not meant to be watched sober.
No,
I've
not at
done it,
all.
and
Any
that's
capacity.
an experience all in itself, you know?
You got to do it sober at this point. You just got to. You've already seen it intoxicated. Yes, yes.
I want to know how many edibles were in that writer's room.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Answer to all
Yeah,
of
it
it.
was all of the
They
above.
had something stronger than marijuana.
It was
Yeah.
all of the above, I think.
All of them got to bring in their own scripts. Like, okay, make it as ridiculous as possible. You got 20 minutes. Go.
I think, like how people make jungle juice at a college party. It was that, but it was just drugs. They just literally
Yeah.
all you came
Yeah.
in, you poured
Dumped
your
them
drugs
all
in the
in.
pot. Sorry, Mitch, what was your go for it?
No, you're good. So I would say my real favorite. I'm probably going to have to say Force Awakens, if not even necessarily for the movie itself. It's just for the simple fact of, like when, the original trilogy came out, I wasn't alive yet. When the sequel trilogy came out, that was right around the time when like high school Mitch was like, hey, I'm not really a geek. I'm too cool for this kind of stuff. And then I learned the error of my ways. But the sequel trilogy, starting with Force Awakens, that was the first one where it was just like, like I'm going in there like with just in complete and total awe, So like, even though like taking the movie aspect of itself out of it, just the simple fact I will never forget that feeling of seeing, like a brand new Star Wars, like in front of my eyeballs. As far as my favorite character, that one is a toughie. I don't want to still I don't want to be like a Disney Star Wars fanboy, but like, there is something about Poe Dameron where I'm just like, this guy is such a badass. He is such just like
Chaotically bisexual.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Chaotically chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. It was like emphasis on the chaotic. But like, yeah, just the way that Oscar Isaac plays this character, it's just like Poe Dameron is who I want to be when I grow up. Like and plus he has BB-8, and if you know anything about me, I am a 1000% BB-8 fanboy. Is what is.
My friend and I were writing fan fiction because we like that. And my friend finally went, Rachel, whenever we write from Poe Dameron's perspective, how come he's become self-insert for Rachel? And I'm like, look, I am the way I am. And she goes, it's totally in character, but it's also things that would come out of your mouth. Like, look, Brienne, it's not my fault. Sarah, what about you?
I'm easy. The Last Jedi, Rose Tico, and Niku from Resistance. My sweet baby boy would do anything for him.
What about you, Kiki?
Oh, favorite movie? I would have to say Return of the Jedi. The reason for it is that I just love how it's kind of like the end of the story arc before, it was the end of the story arc for Luke Skywalker for many years, right? And I identified so heavily with Luke Skywalker as a kid. But my favorite character, it is a tie between, hilariously, Padme and Chopper. Now these are two end of a spectrum kind of characters. Like, I want to be Padme when I grow up, but like there's some level of me that looks at Chopper and just respects that little murder robot. I'm just like, you have a body count, a full-blown body count. Like,
He has a body count in the thousands.
Yeah, like this little droid, and you're just like, bro. Like,
Everybody's got a little Chopper in 'em.
R2 is hilarious. I love R2, but like Chopper is like, I actively look for situations where I can take people out. You're just like, whoa. Like he pushed the droid. Like I will never forget him pushing like that Imperial droid. I was like, that was full blown like calculated.
Like because they're all like, oh, we could reprogram him. He could be useful to us. And Chopper's like, yeet.
Chopper's like, that's competition. Nope.
Just see the body fall down like, oh, wait, what? Huh? Oh, yeah, we could have. That's my bad. That's my bad.
When he's around his mom, he's like, oh, I'm completely sweet and innocent. And Hera's like,
angel around Hera. And then like he gets around everybody else. He's like, this is the real me. It's the real me operating now.
Chopper reminds me of my dog. And I don't think that's a good And Missy knows what dog I'm talking about.
Yep, I'm about to mention your other dog too.
Okay, good. Missy, what's your favorites?
As much as my favorite particular scenes are in Rise of Skywalker, movie as a whole, I'd probably go Last Jedi. I think it's not. I feel like Rise of Skywalker has like highs and lows for me. It's very up and down, whereas I'm just, very much. Plus, I honestly, young Luke annoys the crap out of me. I love old Luke. Rachel, you want to guess who my favorite character is?
It's R2-D2.
It's absolutely R2-D2.
Missy likes droids.
R2-D2 and we vibe. As Rachel and Ace both know, when we did some Star Wars readings, I got to play R2, and we translated him into English. I got to drop the one and only F-bomb.
Although really, Ray deserved a couple of them because at that point she's just like, what the
Ray should have dropped one in the scene where you get to yell at Ace, the one I'm pointing at.
Ace, the one I'm pointing to.
Yes.
But honorable mention, and this is why I said I'm going to mention your other dog. And Rachel, you're going to have to help me. I can't remember the actual droid designation.
Dio?
Huh?
Dio?
No. Tippy Taps.
Oh, B2.
Yes.
The B2 droid series. From,
especially in, was it in Mando or was it in...
it was in Boba Fett.
It was Boba, but it was a Mando scene when he's helping him build his new ship. It was so cute. And that is Snoopy.
Just want to say for the record, like a series with just all the different droids in the Star Wars universe.
They announced one.
Like 100 years after everything that happens, when they just roll around, like to see them interact, because I've also played the Old Republic games, which kind of spurred my love for Star Wars early. And there is a full-on murder robot named HK in there, kind of like short for Hell Knight, who only refers to humans and other living things as meat bags. And when you try to correct this whole idea, because it's a BioWare game, so you can try to be good or bad, he's like, I don't understand why the meat bags would be offended at being called meat bags. They are only bags of meat. Very soft and pliant, and they go down from blaster fire so easy. And it's like, stay on the ship. You stay right here on the ship. I'm not bringing you on this planet.
Wait on the ship.
Like, there's children on this planet. You stay on the ship and don't kill anything.
I would say my favorites, but everybody already knows. So
I don't remember so in the book of Boba Fett, there's a scene where like Boba Fett's trying to get his ship back and he's with Fennec, and there's like that little rabbit droid.
Yes.
Like Boba Fett grabs it and he's like, I'm Boba
in
Fett.
the kitchen.
Yeah, and like it is to this very day, I'm like, this is the funniest scene in Star Wars. This little robot just starts crying and it's so overwhelmed that it hits its own kill switch, and you're just like,
yeah.
I've been there though. Like I watched it, I was sitting there, I was like, I've been there. Like
honestly,
where you're just like, I have too many big emotions for this situation. I'm out. Like nope, I can't deal with this.
I think that's part of why I love R2 so much. And one of my favorite R2 scenes is in Book of Boba Fett when Mando shows up at Luke and Grogu's little training, and it's the is this a bench scene? Which, as much as I love Din Djarin, that man is not the most intelligent in the world.
He can kill anybody. He can get any bounty. But are you a Jedi?
Does this thing have an on button? That was
But
my favorite.
My favorite is still when she says, "You said you needed muscle," and they play the Mando theme, and I'm like, you know, the subtext to that conversation was, "It's a good thing you need muscle because the man ain't got no brains."
Yes, but that my favorite R2 in that is when he's asking like where Grogu is, and R2's just like, I'm gonna take a nap now.
No, don't shut down.
R2 is the most solid of all bros in the day. It was like,
Yep.
oh no, I know who Vader is. I ain't saying nothing. Like, yeah, I seen it. I was there when he did the thing. I remember it. I'm not saying anything at all. Oh, where's my man Luke at? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not snitching on anybody.
I'm still trying to figure it, and I go back and forth with when Luke first meets Yoda, if R2 is just screwing with him or
They both know each other technically.
Right. Like, it's like, I see you. I see you. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say anything either. We cool. We cool then. We just going to be chill right now. We're going to act like nothing is happening.
The thing is, though, R2, when he goes to pick up Grogu, he's got to be like, "Oh no, if that thing grabs a stick, I'm yeeting it."
Yeah. And I am still convinced. And if you look at the scene in the
Book of Boba
Revenge
Fett.
of the Sith, when Anakin goes back to talk to Padme before he heads out to Mustafar, the way R2's acting in that, I am convinced he's the one that saved Grogu.
You just want your faves to interact.
I mean, I
Look
just
at
like
what
the way
he did. I mean, look how when Luke showed up at the end of Mando, look how he reacted to him.
So one of my favorite Twitter accounts is called Prequel Memes. It is the funniest thing I've seen, and I'm gonna read so there's a picture of R2, and it just says, "Friendly reminder that R2 drove Anakin to the Jedi Temple in Mustafar, making him an accessory to Vader's war crimes."
Ouch.
Also a fact.
Like, but you're not wrong. That's the worst part.
Look, R2 rides for his guys, okay? If I'm your boy, I'm your boy. Good or
both
bad.
sides. He's like, I'm coming out. I'm surviving this situation.
But I think R2 was also scared shitless.
It was kind of like, I know he seems mad, but I know he's not finna do it. And then he just saw him go in there. It was like, he mad, man. Oh, okay. You know what?
He doing.
I'm gonna chuck out the deuces. He just did the deuces. Me like, I'm gonna just leave right now. I'm gonna just go away.
Between that and the fact that they let him fly with Poe Dameron in the last battle, I know they're just like, there's got to be a conversation with BB-8. It's like, I ain't flying with that man again. I ain't doing it.
I think there was
the worst. Done.
I think there was a
Vader,
scene.
bro. I'm not going back and shit with these guys.
I think there was a scene where somebody's like, R2, he needs an adult.
Poe Dameron needs a grown-up, and Finn has to be on the ground. Which is funny, because out of all the sequel trilogy, second generation, the oldest is Snap Wexley, but we don't see him that much. But the next one is Poe, and he's the one that needs the adult. Rey is the youngest, and she is the adult.
Look, age does not mean maturity, okay? As life has taught me anything. My oldest friends are the most immature group of people that can't break out into fits of laughter hearing the word fart still. So no, age means nothing, because I can just say fart or the word booty repeatedly and they will just fall to the ground in tears, laughing hysterically as if I did something amazing, and they can't control themselves, and they're like in their early 40s now, and they're just booty.
Do you know how many times in my life, like I'm 32, that something will happen and I'm like, oh God, we need an adult. And then I'm standing there, I'm like, I'm the oldest person in the room. I'm the adult. Oh no.
I need an adult.
Right. I need an adultier adult. I need to call in the emergency adult. I need the backup adult right away.
Like I was interacting with my friends, they got little kidlets, and they were like, can you watch them for like 5 minutes away from the bathroom? I'm like, cool. I'm watching this 2-year-old and 4-year-old. One of them stalks the other one because they're brothers, and that's what brothers do. And I'm like, dang, an adult needs to step in and stop the fight. And I'm like, that's me. I'm the adult to step in and stop the fight. No.
Have you seen it's a TikTok of all these teachers that are like, when you hear a fight in the hallway and as a teacher trying to grade, going, not my circus, not my monkeys, not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm
on my break.
They're like, when you realize they're your students, my circus, my monkeys.
Yeah.
It's me when, like, our podcast, I'm one of the older members of our podcast. I think I'm the second oldest. And every now and then I'm like, God damn it, we need an adult. And I'm like, shit, I am the adult. That
That's just
time,
life.
Mitch, during Laramie Project when we skipped 2 scenes. I'm like,
Oh
looking
my
at
I will.
Thank you for bringing back those awful memories.
Trauma.
Yeah, because you were looking at the script and I transferred seats so that people couldn't see that we had a script on stage.
Yeah, fun times.
I will make fun of like boomers all day, every day, but sometimes I'm like, man, y'all made adulting look easy though.
Right?
When you went to college,
You know
for
what?
pocket
They didn't have as many
change and to buy
options.
a house at 20, it was easy.
Right. They didn't have the same options, okay? They didn't have the internet to contend with. They didn't have electronics, really. There wasn't as many terrible things they were aware of in the streets. They were just like, go out and run outside and come back when the sun goes away and the lights turn on.
Do you know like how badly it threw off the boomers when like the millennials got like, you know, the internet phone and they're like, yeah, and that's how this is. And we were like, yeah, you're wrong. I just Googled it. And they're like,
right. Wait, what?
Oh shit. Yeah.
What?
Like, oh
yeah,
yeah,
you're
like
wrong. And I have proof that you're wrong. Like they weren't ready for that. They were not ready for us to hit them with the internet phones.
they were not ready to have their stories be confirmed as bullshit in the moment. Like,
I was
no,
just
that's a lie.
proofs, you're wrong.
That's wrong also. Actually, you're completely wrong about all of this that you told me before, too. I have a list. I kept a running list of things. Adults stopped talking to me as a child once I could do that.
That's the thing that drives me crazy is that, you know, all the boomers and politicians that talk about millennials, like, you know, thinking they're all college students. I'm 41. I'm technically considered an elder millennial, which I prefer exennial. Thank you. Because elder millennial just,
I play D&D. I like elder millennial. That makes me sound like a powerful version of the millennial.
Fair.
If y'all ever want to have like a lot of fun with your parents or your guardians, whoever raised you, confront them about like some of the things they told you growing up. You'd be like, hey, you remember how you told me that like the crust was the healthy part of the bread? Yeah. More cooked part. That it doesn't have more vitamins in it.
You know,
they're not ready for that conversation. They're like, and you're like, no, you want to address that lie? People want to know.
People want to know.
We're talking about that. Our grandfather used to tell us to eat the crusts of the bread to make your hair curly. And
I've heard that.
And we thought, you know, oh, hey, maybe he knows something. Maybe he's full of crap. We never thought to question this man was bald. And you know what's funny? Now my sister and I will remember that. And my sister goes, wait a second, Rachel wouldn't, and she's got the curly hair. So that was her thing. I'm like, instructions unclear. Grandpa may have been right.
I remember go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was forever infuriated. I was over at my friend's house and they got little kidlets, like I said. And they were like, the kid wanted juice. And so they cut that with water. They put H2O in there. And I watched them do this and then hand it to the kid. And I was like, wait, why would you do that? And they're like, every parent does that. And I was like, no, they don't. And so I called my mom. I was like, did you cut my juice with water? And mom was like, yeah, every parent does that. And I was like, it's all just I had to sit there in silence. I was like mad at everyone in my life.
It's the betrayal.
Yeah, the sugar,
I was like,
I'm cutting my juice with sugar right now because I'm drinking vodka cranberries and I can't drink.
I was mad. I was like, y'all didn't give me straight apple juice my entire childhood.
What I was going to say, Rachel, was just going back to your sister for a second. That's why it's nice to have her around because she's the scientist. So now I hear people say things and I'm like, Becca?
Rebecca, can you come science? Although, to be fair, this is my sister who's a high school science teacher, but her idea, like, she'll tell her kids the real scientific method. If I ask her about the scientific method, she goes, the scientific method is fuck around and find out, okay?
It basically is.
Yeah. I mean, you get the sister version, which is even better.
You're not the one who had to sit in a car for 3 hours this weekend with this woman. I love her, but every now and then we started making a psalm because we were supposed to go to a concert in Alpine Valley Music Theater, which is outdoors. There was a thunderstorm. It got canceled. So we were at a bar at a campground with a bunch of people for a Jimmy Buffett concert. A whole lot of white people.
That goes without saying. Yes.
You said Jimmy Buffett. I was like, I already know the demographic we're talking about.
Oh, you got to listen to the jukebox story.
They're fine. They were all nice people. Like, I met all of them, but I'm like, there's a lot of white people in this room right now. And like, I do theater with a company that's entirely based in diversity. So like, me being in a room full of white people, I'm like, this is weird. I don't like it. But I had control of the jukebox because I put like $30 in the jukebox once we realized the concert was canceled. So I'm picking songs out of an app. They don't have that much Jimmy Buffett, but we're playing what we can. I'm like, you know what? I bet I can make this room rock. And my sister goes, what are you going to do? I play Sweet Caroline. Oh, the white people got turned.
Yes.
Yep.
Entire bar of drunk white people. We get 2 bars in, and one guy goes, yeah, this is... 5 seconds later, bop, 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 bop.
I went to see
my sister has now started making a playlist because she teaches in a school that's mostly Black and Latino kids. So she gets told on a daily basis, that's some white people shit. And she sometimes looks at the child and goes, I'm a white people, and that is some white people shit. And so my sister has started a playlist called White People Shit that are songs white people like. And my sister's like, so I've tested the playlist. And I go, how did you test the playlist? She goes, played it for mom. Every single song. She's like, I love this. So if anybody needs me, I will be debuting my songs white people like playlist.
So like my parents, I was adopted, and my parents who adopted me were white. And so like, you know, when I interact with their Black people, they're like, oh yeah, like this artist was playing when it was time to clean the house. And I'm like, I knew it was time to clean the house when mom played the Beatles. I was like, oh Lordy, here we go. We're gonna clean the house. The Beatles.
Was like, yeah, you know, should they throw in the Earth, Wind, and Fire or the Titty Pendergrass? I'm like, the Beatles. Beatles, like, really?
That's my music right here. Like, I'm sitting there and I hear like, hey Jude, and I'm like,
got a vacuum.
Hey, my parents were the Jimmy Buffett people. That's why we were at a Jimmy Buffett concert, because we have a pool. We had a pool when I was a kid, and then my parents put one in a couple years ago, and so it's all my mom's island mix as she's in the pool. I'm like, this is Jimmy Buffett and like slightly tropical country, and she's like, it's fine. I'm like, okay. And then she goes, then sometimes we mix in reggae. I'm like, okay, mom.
I will say, as a Black person, like watching white people just lose it to Sweet Carolina is the most adorable thing.
Yes.
Like you're sitting there and you're like, Sweet Carolina. Is your body's usually like bum bum bum. You're like, they're having fun.
Oh yeah.
They're doing it.
Look,
Go
as
rock stars. Like,
as a representative of this segment of the population of the white Midwestern folk, we don't really get free to music very easy. Sweet Caroline makes us feel free. I used to work at a theater up in Joliet, and there was one Black janitor that I would sit and talk to between my bartending shifts. And one day he walks over to me at a wedding, and I was like, okay, this guy's hilarious. So I was about to hear something good. And Edward turns to me and goes, Miss Rachel. And I go, what, Edward? What's up? And he goes, got a question about white people. I'm like, I'm a representative of this portion of the population. Lay it upon me. And he goes, why do white people dance to the words? I go, I'm sorry. He goes, no. He goes, watch. This wedding is because it's at a fancy theater. It was a wedding of wealthy white people. Mm-hmm. He's like, they're not dancing to the beat. They dance to the words. And I watched it. I'm like, you see, because white people like songs where the words tell us what to do. That is the songs we like. We like the cha-cha slide. We like the Cupid shuffle. We like the time warp. We don't like having to figure it out. He goes, yeah, but still, you're still supposed to do the electric slide on the beat. And I said, that's too much to ask for us. If we're moving and talking at the same, it's too much to ask of us.
I taught my dad the Cupid shuffle at this wedding that was my brother's best friend just recently, and that was. God bless his soul. He has no tune. He has no pitch. Rhythm. Nor does he have any rhythm. And so that was very, very challenging for him. I was like, Dad, it's like 2 steps. It's 2 steps. And then you turn and you do those 2 steps again. And he didn't know what
Why
book to
would
start
you like
on.
country
I
line
had no
dancing?
idea. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Why would
I-
you like country line dancing?
I've got a line dancing story.
Okay, lay
Oh,
it
yeah.
on me.
Not the, it. I was not an active participant, just so you know. For the local folk, there used to be this bar. It was called Rock and Robin, but it was affectionately known as the Dirty Bird. It had a light up dance floor.
I hate it.
Yep.
It had a disco ball. Like, it was awful.
No.
But I love
Was
to
it
go
the Good
there.
Time Emporium, Mitch? Was it the Good Time Emporium?
Pretty close. It was pretty close. So
Sorry,
anyway,
Jeremy Pocket joke for you who didn't see that show.
so one night, a group of us go, and we're just having some drinks, and we were just sitting at a table and just people watching, because that's what we did there. There was this group of people that were line dancing to literally every song, and one of these guys did like kind of tricks with it. Like, they were they were line dancing to Metallica. I don't remember exactly what song, but I remember to this day that it was Metallica. And this guy, he's doing dips and whatever. He ends up hitting his female friend. I'm assuming a wife or a significant other or something like that, but I don't know. But ends up hitting her in the face. She walks off. He continues line dancing to finish out the song.
He had to finish the song.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, for the Midwesterners, I just had a horrible flashback. Did y'all have the 3rd, 4th grade PE semester of line dancing?
Yes.
They made us do it in 9th grade when we finally realized the opposite sex was okay.
Oh God, for me it was 4th grade.
Oh yeah, I did it. I'll say sophomore year. I want to say we had for it.
My favorite was we had to do swing dancing, which to this day I love swing dancing, and I choreographed a number for a show in swing dance. But when you have to ask high school children to touch each other, none of them want to. Dude, I was lucky. I got to pick my partner first, and I got a man who was taller than I was, which is hard. I'm 5'10". None of the boys had hit their growth spurt yet. But yeah, trauma. Square dancing too.
I mean, I won't say that I've seen all that live. I used to DJ karaoke 3-4 times a week locally, and normally there was always a segment where we, put out the dancing and normally do the dances, and sometimes we try to teach them. And when I say some of the things that I used to see were so horrific that as a DJ, I would just cut the song really we're going back to karaoke. We're not, I wouldn't think we do the same line dances. We do Cupid Shuffle. It tells you what to do. Why are you on a chair? Where did the chair even come to the equation at? Why are you humping the chair? That's not the dance. Or because some of my other friends would come in, so of course they could dance. So I throw in songs like Teach Me How to Dougie. And if you've not seen people who don't understand line dancing trying to understand what the Dougie is and then replicate seeing said Dougie, it's a good amount of hilariousness to watch, because oftentimes the equilibrium with the alcohol doesn't fit, so they'll try to swim in the Dougie and hit the ground hard and skid, and it's man down, man. Oh, never mind. But I would say the song that normally got everybody turned at our bar, other than Sweet Caroline, which I got to the point of hating to hear, because somebody would always want to sing it because it's easy. The other one would be a good one was now I can't think, Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen, of course.
Yep.
Which then it turned into a full-on production half the time because people had to get up. There had to be dramatic moments. There had to be pauses. There was background changes for some reason. And somebody grabbed a banner off the wall of a beer. And I'm like, what? Okay, you know what? Never mind. It's 6 minutes. Get it out the system.
The other one I always remember at every freaking wedding I've ever been to is I think it's called Greatest Country Song Ever Made. It's the one about the guy's mom goes to prison and he drives his truck, and you'd know it if you heard it.
Would I?
I mean, you know what? What's the other one?
Some of us would.
The last time I remember doing line dances, I was 3 margaritas in by 10 a.m. on a snorkel boat in Mexico.
See, that's the best time.
Intervention.
I was
What the
lit.
hell?
I was lit because they had you snorkel. You had to snorkel, and then you were allowed to start drinking. It was like 10 in the morning, and I'm like drinking. And then we get to the beach party, and they give me more free booze. And so instead, I get to try to climb onto floating, slides and stuff. I am tanked, and I have no upper body strength. I look like a little sunburnt fish. Then on the boat, on the way back to the pier, they start playing white people line dancing songs, and a couple of the younger crew members dance with us. My ex was with me, and he did not dance, but he was busy watching me dance, so I made friends with there was a guy who I decided we were going to be friends with him because he had like the first 2 notes of Defying Gravity and a Wicked tattoo, and so I'm like, that one's going to be my friend.
That's the one.
He's teaching me how to do the wobble. I was wobbling. It was not to the beat. It was not to the beat because I was like, a ridiculous amount of drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm wobbling, and I think there is still video of this on my ex's phone, but I will destroy him if it ever sees the light of day.
I don't know why.
Me. I'm just taking down a note for no apparent reason at all.
I don't know why, but that reminded me of I was visiting my family in Louisiana for Thanksgiving, and I was raised in the Pacific Northwest. But I was
you from Louisiana also?
I was born down there.
Lake Providence, Louisiana.
Hey,
you're from Louisiana?
My family is from Louisiana. I'm the first generation Chicago.
Rouge area is when I claim. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All the parishes.
Is this a group of Midwesterners except for Kiki?
Yes,
I didn't even realize.
I claim the Pacific Northwest as home, but I was born in Louisiana.
Oh my goodness.
And my family's still down there.
Nice, I think the top row is all the same city.
Top row is Springfield, and we got Chicago and Bloomington.
I was in Chicago earlier this summer. Loved it.
Oh, it's a great town.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, your pizza is like a casserole, and I will fight you on that. Your pizza is
it's the Midwest. Everything's a casserole.
Okay.
I know. Did I speak a lie? Ultimately, did I speak a lie? No, I did not. I spoke a truth.
Look, okay, the deep dish is not our pizza. That's for the tourists to be like, oh, this is different. We all like the thin crust Italian Fiesta pizza. That's the main pizza that we rock with. The casserole pizza is just like the show off thing. We like to show off to people. Like, hey,
no, I eat all pizza. I've never met a pizza that I don't like. I even like St. Louis pizza.
I will make fun of Chicago pizza, but I was like, I finished all them slices, so I'm not even
right.
Talk.
Right, you're gonna eat it. You're gonna eat it, but you don't get it all the time because it's an event to get all through it. It's like, wait,
it is an event. Yeah,
I'm gonna come at this. Hold on, wait. Okay, wait, it's leaking. It's leaking. Hold on, wait.
Anyway, but I was down in Louisiana for Thanksgiving. I wake up, I want to say about 9 a.m. I walk out of the bedroom. My family's sitting there watching CNN or some nonsense, and they got alcohol open, and I was like, what are y'all doing? And they're like, it's Thanksgiving. You want a shot? And I'm like, it's 9 a.m. And they're like, yeah, welcome to the dirty South. Do you want a shot? I don't understand what's the question here.
In their defense, they had the news on.
CNN. Yeah. They're like, you want a shot? Come on now.
I'd be doing shots too.
Hey.
I mean, this was years ago. This was before we got to the 2016 situation.
Okay.
This was just the South.
That's very accurate. It's like we woke up. What do you mean we're not drinking? What?
We woke up and it's Thanksgiving. What do you mean we drink? What do you mean? What are you doing?
I grew up. My grandparents were Seventh-day Adventists, so all family events were dry.
I was raised SDA.
Oh no.
Okay, I was not raised that way, but my grandparents were. So all family events are dry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we started to get through some of the family events. We started pre-gaming Christmas because we couldn't drink at Christmas, but you pre-gamed Christmas. We would go and you'd put a shot of whiskey in your coffee, or in my case, you put a little bit of coffee, a shot of whiskey, and then topped it off with creamer. It was fine. I don't drink coffee. But then now, meanwhile, my parents and everything were camping for this Jimmy Buffett concert. My sister and I roll in, half an hour late, mind you, because we got a flat tire. So we roll in, and my mom's like, what's in the bag? And we're like, oh, we brought the stuff from Mimosas. She's like, we're going to drink at the concert. I'm like, and it's 10 a.m. We're drinking now.
I was gonna say, complete other end of the spectrum, Irish Catholic. I drink.
Listen,
I don't know. There was a day, I think it was my mom was preparing Thanksgiving dinner with somebody, and I'm like, I put rum chata in your coffee. She's like, why? I'm like, because relatives.
Yeah.
Listen, like I have a good portion of my family that is still SDA, and this is hilarious. It's getting recorded, but they'll find out eventually anyway. They probably already knew. Like before we went over to their place for Thanksgiving, I had a glass and a half of wine. So like we roll in for Thanksgiving, and they're like, "Hey Kiki, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Good." Like just sit down and like, of course, everything gets like turns to politics as it does on the Thanksgiving day. And I'm like, I'm like a glass and a half of wine in, and I'm like, they're like, you're really chill today. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to eat my turkey and get my potatoes and get my slice of pie. I'm just try to chill today. I'm not trying to start nothing.
If anybody needs it, especially going back to our fundraiser with debates coming in college, we found out that the whole tall can of Limeritas fit into a 32-ounce cup from the gas station. Ask me how we figured that out. With ice. You can fit ice in there.
Oh, you figure that stuff out real quick.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
God, I also found out in college, slightly unrelated, but if you put a shot in a bottle, like if you pour soda out and put a shot in the bottle, it will make the soda bottle overflow. I got to drive home from an on-campus event I was not supposed to be drinking at, but we were. We were drinking and playing Foursquare because college. And I got to just drink home. I had barely drank any of it, and I get to go home smelling like whiskey because my soda exploded all over me. And I'm like, officer, this is not what it looks like.
It's kind of what it looks like.
That's a valid one. I mean, at all our family events, because there was always the pre-event you went to with the family, and then there was the other found family event you went to where you ended up at and spent till 3 a.m. with all the kids. And we always loved going to what we called the Red House, which was like the grandparents' house for like all of us. So we'd gather there. Children were banished upstairs where we were told to go play and to keep it down. But if we got quiet and sat down and watched something, then the adults got up there being all nosy. What y'all doing up here? What's going on? Why y'all all
quiet?
Quiet kids are a danger. Quiet kids are a danger.
Like, look, we sat here watching a movie. Y'all yell at us to be too loud. So we sitting down like, watching y'all like, but we always loved it because there was always 2 different bowls of punch. There was always the adult punch that was spiked. And then there was the kid punch. And if you normally wait until about 8:30, 8:35, 9 o'clock, they'd forget which is which and spike them both as they were filling them. And then as kids, we were just like, no, I'm just getting some punch. It takes like your 4th or 5th cup of punch. Mind your business. And so one of these wonderful nights is all of them getting there, and we're sitting there downstairs in one of the bedrooms watching the movie. All the kids have piled onto me, where there's like roughly 15 of them, and I'm still awake because I'm a night owl. So I'm like, it's only 10:30. This is the prime time to be awake. And I realized that even though I was only like 10, all these children were piled on me. My strength wasn't enough to move said children, so I was effectively trapped and pinned under a blanket of all my cousins, which the other adults found hilarious. It was like, yeah, we know where you're at now. I was like, cool. As long as none of these kids pee on me, we're fine. If they pee on me, I'm biting children. I'm going to bite your child. It was the best and worst of all those memories of being just stuck there with just like, all right, well, this is what we are. This is, all right, well, this is how the night ends for this Thanksgiving. I'm here till the adults are ready to go. Grab your coat and your child. Get your child too. It's good times. Good times. I miss those days.
Family gatherings are just their own unique level, especially anytime recently when you're like, My favorite is there was a meme going around a couple years ago that was like, oh, why I'm not invited to the family 4th of July. Oh, Cousin Eddie, I see that you're setting off fireworks without a permit. It's a misdemeanor. You know, like they were taking people's kids from at the border for them. And it's like, oh, that's why I'm not invited to my family Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, you want to fight?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see a Skywalker Thanksgiving.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I was just about to say, as we're talking about drinking, y'all seen that like $5,000 cocktail at like Galaxy's Edge, or was it Galaxy's? The Galactic Hotel.
The cruise line.
Yeah.
Cruise line,
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
There's
Listen.
few things in my life I'm willing to spend that amount of money on. That's
No.
consumable and not permanent.
No.
See, I just
Apparently
want to know
it comes with
what-
a private escort off the ship and you get to go to Skywalker Ranch.
Yes, and you also get a sipper of Pappy Van Winkle here. I want to know what Disney's allocation of Pappy is. This
Of
is not
what?
something you can of Pappy Van Winkle.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
I mean,
it
this is
is
Disney.
made in super limited batches, and it's a whole thing. There's a criminal. I think it's a criminal episode about it. I highly recommend. But because somebody stole like a bunch of Pappy Van Winkle, but yeah, it's super difficult to get. So I'm like fascinated that Disney has a specific allocation.
I mean, this is Disney we're
It's
talking about. They're
Yeah,
pretty
that's what I was
much
just
the
gonna say.
realistic umbrella corporation from Resident Evil. Like Disney is around the world. I'm like 95% convinced they have like camps where they literally train children because nobody has this many talented children for it. My entire life, there's a new show with kids who can sing, dance, act, do multiple voices, do improv. And I'm like, do you build these? Did you order these children like a decade ago to have them trained up? Like you signed the contract, have the child, bring it to us. We're just gonna
Oh
rope
my
a
God,
silk
Disney
in
the
this.
The Jedi.
Disney's
Exactly.
the Jedi.
Disney is the new Jedi Order.
Retro, I love that you and I both went there at the exact same moment.
So on that note, I'm gonna have to take my leave because I have players
I
to
just
torture.
realized we have gone like
slash-
30 minutes over, guys. I'm sorry. I should have been watching the clock.
You're fine about
Ace,
my
real
players.
quick,
They're never on time.
tell us where people can find you if they want to find you.
Yes, indeed. You can find me at Ace Overton on the Twitters, even on Facebook. For some reason, they allow me to have a whole professional page still. I normally stream on Twitch multiple nights a week. I have a podcast or two that still exists out there in the wherever you listen to your podcast. If you just Google Ace Overton, I generally pop up. And there was something else that's coming up that I have. Oh, I have something in the works. I have voice acting stuff out there on YouTube. If you look up The Upside of Down, you can hear my voice as many different objects, one of them being a French accented lady pleasing device. I didn't write the role. I just accepted the job because, got to pay the bills.
Hey, pay them bills.
It worked out. But yes, you will also be able to find me there immediately after this as my players have to basically pull a Casino Royale and go into a high stakes fancy place. And they're fairly broke on the inside and they have to try to sneak around and get things done without causing an international incident because it's not like they won't push the bright red button because they push the button all the time. They can't help themselves. So more than likely, you're going to hear 4 or 5 adults scream bloody murder and cause themselves trauma that they blame me for. So yeah, you can find me all the places.
Night.
Adios.
Good night.
See ya.
Okay. Kiki, let us know where we can find you.
You can find me at Black PNW Lady all over different socials. I mostly hang out on TikTok where I completely just argue with people about Star Wars, and I have an unhealthy obsession about Bane. I don't know if any of you follow me on TikTok. I talk about Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, and things get rated R very quickly. Would let that man do things to me that I cannot talk about on this channel. So that
I've never saw Tom Hardy as Bane, but I liked him as Max in Mad Max. But then I figured out that he's like a whole inch shorter than I am, and I'm like, he doesn't seem as powerful anymore.
It's so funny, like the diversity of things that he does with his roles. Like he's Bane, and then he goes to like playing like Venom, and like it's just like, what in the world is going on? Why are you like this? It is amazing, Sam.
I mean, I'm not gonna to shame you for that because the entire Star Wars Twitter wanted to screw a Wookiee.
Look,
exactly.
Star Wars Twitter is its own community, and it just gets weird every couple of weeks. It's like, good morning, Twitter. Do we still want to screw a Wookiee this morning, or have we moved on to something else? Oh no, now we're arguing about lighting design again.
Listen, like I have accidentally stumbled onto that side of the fandom, and I usually find the Din Djarin people, and that's where I tend to hang out. But yeah, it's a fun time. But that's where you can find me, Black PNW Lady, to talk about all things R-rated and up.
See, where can people find you if they want to find you?
Easiest place is Twitter, MissNorm98, MISNORM 98. You usually find me if I'm not just shaming Rachel, it's just it's being yelling at people for their stupidity.
Ableism.
Fair.
Ableism's been a big one this week with
Ableism's been a big one. You know, any of the isms basically.
Sarah. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at SCH221, as it says over here, and on Friends of the Force all the time, at Friends of the Force on Twitter, Friends of the Force on Instagram, YouTube. I'm also on Instagram at Sarah's Puzzled Pages, where I like to talk about books and jigsaw puzzles at the same time. Two of my favorite things. That's pretty much it. If you follow me on Twitter, you will get such things as my Star Wars hot takes occasionally, musical theater, books, that sort of stuff.
Sarah and I are kind of the same person sometimes. It's a little scary.
On occasion.
Mitch, where can we find you?
So on Twitter, we're at Geek Awakens. We're at the Geek Awakens podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We post on just about every podcast channel that you can get on. We try to post weekly, but I'm also my own editor because I'm cheap. So episodes come up when they come up. We talk about all different types of pop culture, not just related to Star Wars, even though the name suggests. But yeah, it's a fun time. We're going up to C2E2 next week, hopefully getting a lot of interviews there. So that's going to be exciting. Also, real quick, my final hot take. It's all right. I'm just throwing this out here. Everybody hates on Jar Jar Binks about how immature and everything that he was. But yet, y'all don't act like how Yoda in his first movie wasn't just like completely like, oh my God, like, will you shut the F up?
Fair.
No,
and I like Yoda.
I think my hot take is that I think C-3PO is more annoying than Jar Jar Binks.
That's fair.
C-3PO is the most annoying character in the entire.
My household might be biased because my dog hates Yoda. Absolutely hates Yoda. It's the laugh. The laugh freaks my wiener dog the hell out. Aww. He's just like, nope. He's like, roar, and my dog's like, nope.
The frog guy is laughing. Nope.
Mom, the frog's talking again. And this is why when I take my dogs to the drive-in with me, which surprisingly they love to go to the drive-in because I fill their car seat with popcorn and they're happy as clams. But they did not go see The Empire Strikes Back with me at the drive-in. Why? Because my dog is terrified of Yoda, and Yoda that big would have probably given him a meltdown. He loves Return of the Jedi though, because Yoda's very quiet and then quietly dies.
And Ewoks.
He loves Ewoks. But yeah. You can find me at Built on Stardust. I'm about to go on my world's biggest podcast tour because if you haven't heard, there's a Rogue One prequel series coming out. You might have heard of it. So I'm going to be really annoying for the next 3.5 months. But yeah, you can find me at Built on Stardust. You can find us at Followers of the Force Podcast, Facebook, Instagram. Find us on TeePublic. Please donate to the What Choice fundraiser. We have our own Twitter at WhatChoice22. Yeah, please. Donate there, donate locally, help write to Congress people, do something. But yeah, until next time, everyone, may the Force be with you.
Bye, everyone.